Hello and welcome to the Pens and Pixels Popcast. I'm your host, Cal G, and to my left is the coordinator extraordinaire,
Mike Kent.
The Popcast is the place to come to if you want to hear about the art and news of video games, comics, and movies that week.
So if you like sass, you like crass, and you don't want to give the Popcast a pass.
Ouch! Ooh! Ooh, I'm hot! Oh my god! Burn myself! Burn myself so hot! Alright, this week we're going to be going on the newsy news you need to know, as per usual. And then after the breaks, we're going to be going over our E3 2017 predictions.
Yeah, we're going to be early about this.
It's that time of the year, folks. We're just a month away from E3, and the hype is already bubbling. It's already brewing. We're getting a couple little leaks, you know, here and there.
Did we?
Yeah, well, I mean, we deleted one of the leaks from the stories this week, the Assassin's Creed thing. There's another Ubisoft leak we're going to talk about in the news.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like, there's little trickles of stuff coming out, and more is only going to be happening as we get closer to the event itself. So we're striking a little early, you know, only about a week early, you know, in my opinion. But so you're gonna hear all the stupid predictions we have, all the stupid predictions other people have.
Yeah.
We're gonna go over, you know, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, Bethesda, maybe EA, maybe not EA.
Probably Capcom.
No, they don't have a conference. They'll be at other people's conferences. So.
Well, I mean, like they're gonna.
Yeah.
Fine. But yeah, I mean, we'll go through our yearly tradition of shooting down everyone else's hopes and dreams.
Will Jade Cocoon make an appearance? Probably not.
Probably not.
All right. Is there any housekeeping for Pens and Pixels, Mike?
Yeah, a little bit. Just to tune in on. Crap, is it June or it's June? June 26th to the 28th, we'll be at Ottawa Game Jam, or otherwise known as OJAM. We're going to have a team of artists there again. If you're actually interested in being an artist at OJAM, you can send your portfolio in to meetpensandpixels@gmail.com and join us there if you're in Ottawa. I mean, don't come from, like, Bangalore or something.
Bangalore? Oh, you know, that third world country, Bangalore.
How do you know? Anyways, not going to go there.
Because
not to insult our fans in Bangalore.
There can't be. That sounds like a name you make up in a porno. Like where
it's a real place.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Oh.
Are you, really?
No. Yes, it's a real place. Look it up. Okay. Anyways, while he's doing that, yeah. So we're gonna have the OJAM going on that weekend, and we'll be doing some live streaming and some live tweeting, etc. And I'll share all the artwork, and you can see some of the games as they're getting made. And then other than that, also keep an ear out for the next Art Jam. We're still working on a time, but we will be getting a place in the range soon, and you guys can join us up for that. So just keep your ears out for news on our Twitter and Facebook and the usual places you get our information on Pens and Pixels.
You know, I never excelled in geography. There's a place called Bengaluru, also called Bangalore.
Yes.
Huh.
Yes.
Who knew? Capital of India's southern...
Did you not watch Wacko's Guide to the World?
State. What?
Did you not watch Yakko's Guide to the World?
Yeah, I did, but I don't remember the first, 30?
Wow.
United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic Dominican, and that's it.
Oh.
So, what, 7?
I was going to say 30 was a lot more.
There's El Salvador, too, I think. Yeah.
El Salvador, too.
Yeah, I don't remember what goes in between that. Go watch that if you haven't watched it in a while. Animaniacs is always fucking good.
It is.
All right, and with that, time for the newsy news. We're starting off with a sad story this week.
It's very sad.
Not sad so much as, status quo.
It's also sad for us because half of our content originally was like, we're going to do the only thing no one else has done, a Hunter by Hunter podcast. Goes on fucking hiatus.
Yeah. Well,
a year. A year.
Yeah, so there's a nifty little chart here. If you don't know, Hunter x Hunter is a manga and anime series that is very close to Mike and Mike's heart. We actually did a podcast for the manga chapters as they were coming out last year. We got about 4 deep before it went on hiatus, and there was only 2 before that, so it was only a 6 thing stint.
Mm-hmm.
So recently, they came out and said, Hunter x Hunter, no stranger to time taking off, is still on break, for now at least. The manga's publisher says new pages are TBA, to be announced. As previously mentioned, manga artist Yoshihiro Togashi, his longest Hunter x Hunter publication streak is 30 issues, while his longest hiatus is 80 issues. The most recent break began in June 2016, and here's how things currently look. And then I will link to this chart in the show notes. There's a big giant chart. You can see how often fucking Hunter was published and then not published.
We'll put it up on the YouTube version as well, so that way you can stare at the sadness of a lot of red.
Yeah, so the reason that this got mentioned at all is they didn't just come out to break everyone's heart and be like, still nothing. there's a Hunter x Hunter compilation that's going to be released in late June, and with Tagashi's work being done on that, I believe he was cleaning up some pages and stuff. You know.
Well, he was redoing all the artwork. So again, just a little note is that part of the he got sick. Cancer? No. What was
it was back problems.
Back problems.
Yeah.
Whatever. He got sick, and he had a hard time doing the artwork and churning out the. I just something clicked in my head. I'm like, you know what? If you can work through back problems and draw me some scribbles, then scribble some shit right now. But anyways. He drew some pretty bad artwork for a bunch of chapters, and that continued for a pretty long time through most of the Ant arc, or Chimera Ant arc, and he's gone back now for the release because he's like, I don't think that should go into my book.
Yeah, which is great, which is great of him, right?
Like, I want that to be redrawn. As a matter of fact, I would reread them just so I could get like, oh, he's actually jumping. Like instead of like squiggle that looks like an eyeball.
Yeah, I think I know what's happening here.
Yeah,
which is great of him to do, and I think it's cool that he does that. But this, because this was getting finished and it was going to release and everything, everybody led to speculation that Hunter was going to come back and Shonen Jump, and it's not. So, just a little update for our Hunter fans out there.
Yep.
All right, next up, Adam Wingard, the guy who's in charge of Death Note on Netflix. He tweeted out something recently, which shifted my perspective. He said, "Excited by reading all of the online speculation about Death Note. Nobody has any idea about what we've done. This is a whole new beast." So get it out of your minds right now. This is the warning that this is going to be some sort of faithful adaptation of the show you like or the manga you like. It is not probably going to 100% follow the storyline.
Oh, it's not going to. As a matter of fact, I think it's probably just going to be about a book that does the same thing. Like at this point, like that's it.
Yeah, I mean, L's still in there, and there's going to be a detective probably.
What if it didn't even like kill anybody? It was called a Death Note, but like it just made people laugh.
Clown Note.
It's just a Death Note. You write it in, and you're like, "Oh, this guy's gonna die," and then someone in the back, ah ha 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 ha.
The giggle book.
That was weird. Just keeps going.
You think you could use a Death Note to do that? Make someone laugh to death?
Yeah, what if you could like write out a whole paragraph of information, like be like spell out the next like 6 months of their life, and it would just make it like the worst thing ever, and be
their life just gradually going downhill.
Yeah, and you just get like you make it like really methodically, slowly make it worse for him. Like today, he slapped his boss randomly, just slap, and then
wait, wasn't there a rule that
now he's unemployed and he has to live in a box? He has contracted HIV. Like you just keep going and going and going.
Wasn't there a rule though that you can only control like the last? Am I wrong that you can only control like last like a minute of their lives?
Was that it?
Was there something like that?
I don't remember.
I feel like there was.
There's rules.
Yeah, there's rules to the Death Note. Woo!
Ooh, that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, it would be great though if you could really control someone for like a month leading up to it.
Completely dictate their life.
He wakes up every morning, punches himself in the balls twice. Just twice.
By like the third month, he's like, I'm really starting to like it.
And as soon as he starts enjoying it, he stops.
He writes in like all those caveats the moment he starts enjoying anything. It's just like that's when his life gets really depressing.
I actually kind of
like he's addicted to heroin, but eventually he hates it. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Okay. So Death Note's gonna be different. I don't know. I'm glad he tweeted this though, just to let me like
not get the expectations that it's gonna be literally a canon.
Yeah, drink it in a little bit and be like, okay, it's not gonna be what I'm expecting exactly.
Small question on it though is like, when it comes to these adaptations, we've had Death Note as a series, Death Note as a manga, Death Note as
2 movies,
sort of.
No, it was 2 Japanese movies, right?
No, they were, but they weren't.
They weren't good.
No,
they're still movies.
They were.
They count as movies.
They still count as 130 minutes of movies.
Yeah, it is a film.
Yep. Anyways, but we've had those, and it's like, okay, they've all been exactly the story, right? Aside from a slight deviation in the ending between the manga and the TV series, like, whatever. Do you really literally just want the exact same thing in human form?
Yes,
for like
kind of
60 episodes? Yes,
because it's one of the shows that for people who don't watch anime, and I keep wanting to tell them to watch this story because I think the story is so good, and they just want nothing to do with it. It's one of the, or it's like almost like Last of Us, right? Where you're like, this person's never going to play a fucking video game, but like you want them to experience that story. It's why we want the movie to come out, just so they can experience.
And you're right. I really want, like, if Last of Us was anything but humans recreating what was done in that game, like,
yeah.
I would say it's a failure.
That's the thing. I'm fine with a new take on this, but at the same time, there's a lot of people I'd like to share like Death Note with because I think it's so cool.
No, you're really right.
Will not watch it because it is an anime or whatever.
You're right. I think with this property, because I didn't really think about it just based on Death Note as a property, it's like this is one of the ones where I'm like, just literally do what is already heralded as like one of the greatest writings for like any graphic novel ever, and it's awesome. It's an excellent piece of work. Take it away from anime, it's just an excellent piece of work. So you're right. Like I would want this one to be loyal, but
even my parents would like Death Note, but they're not going to watch an anime. No. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, if it comes into some other stuff, I guess at the end of the day, like it came up, like someone's like, oh, they're doing Shadow and Dagger, or whatever the fuck it was.
Cloak and Dagger.
I'm not caring if that's loyal.
No, me neither.
Like, as long as someone has dagger powers and someone has a cloak, like I'm good.
Yeah, there's like 3 people in the world that care if that's like faithful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like I'm fine with it being new, but I think it also kind of explains why it's a movie and not a TV show. Because again, when I got this kind of announced, it was like it's a movie, not a TV show, and I was like, oh, like it seems so much more suited to being a TV show. It has all those beats already.
But it's like 3-part movie, isn't it?
Not as far as we know, just one.
No. Yeah. No, I think it's in parts. So they're
as far as I know, I mean, if this one does well on Netflix, I'm sure they'll be like.
I doubt they're going to cover the entire.
Who knows how much they're going to cover in this one?
Yeah. So there might be sequels.
Yeah. Who knows where they end this one? Could be a sequel. Moving on. Hellboy Reboot.
Yeah.
It's happening.
So
3 months after the news that Guillermo got his fucking heart broken, and Ron Perlman, hearts go out to those two. If you didn't know, they got denied making Hellboy 3 a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Guillermo did this whole poll, said he's going to talk to people. Got denied. He's like, it's never happening.
Yeah.
Like 2 months later, they're like, we're rebooting Hellboy. And the thing is, like, I'm almost like, I really like where they're going with this reboot, and I'll get to the details in a second. But it's almost like a too soon kind of thing, where I feel like a little heartbroken. I'm like, oh god,
like, what a fuck you to them.
Yeah, like they must have already known this was happening. You know, like that's the thing. This isn't just materialized out of nowhere. Like
I think they were probably arguing to have the reboot turned into a sequel rather than the reboot.
I just picture them like in a boardroom talking with like Mike Mignola and everyone. They're like, okay, we're gonna reboot it, be R-rated and all stuff, and then hello, would you help me make Hellboy 3? Ah, fuck, it's Guillermo again. Just close the blinds. No, he's gonna know we're here. Close the blinds. I can hear you.
They got like dolls of like Hellboy and like mock-ups and shit. And they're like, hide it. You can't know what we're working on.
He's like, they'll let him in. Yeah. Only a little bit, like
he's peeking through the blinds on the windows, and he's like, "Is that a red man? Is that Hellboy?
No. It's just a little thing we're doing.
Yeah. It's a
he
troll.
puts his hands in front of his eyes. Kooky. Okay, bye, Del Toro.
He's like, no, it's a troll. Oh, you're gonna make my troll hunter show a movie? No. Someone throw something like monstrous down the hall. Someone takes a Play-Doh and just like throws it. Look, a monster. Go write a movie.
You already have 8 projects. Got to work on those.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hellboy Reboot.
Wait, before we get on that, I wanted to know because like I didn't really get your reaction on Twitter. You just went yes and linked this. Are you excited?
I just said what?
Or what? Sorry, yes.
That was my heartbroken phase. Again, it would be like breaking up with someone.
So it was a negative what?
No, it was a good what.
Oh,
and that's the thing. It was a surprise what.
Oh,
it was mixed emotions,
it
right?
Was just,
because I really like what they're doing with this. It sounds cool because I really like the director Neil Marshall, who's done The Descent, which is one of my favorite horror movies. It's the one with all. If you haven't seen it, a bunch of women go into a cave. That's all you need to know. Go watch it. It's great. And the fucking dude from Stranger Things, the cop man from Stranger Things, is going to be Hellboy.
I just lost his name when you started saying those
David
things.
Arbor,
David
I think?
Arbor.
Yeah.
David Arbor, yeah. Which is an excellent choice. It's funny. We were talking about casting David Arbor as Cable before, and we're like, what other gruff roles can we stick him in? Because he's like the only gruff actor left in like non-sculpted Adonis moviedom. Mm-hmm. So we're like, he can do all the roles with a guy with a beard, basically. But this is great. Like, honestly, they're like, if we could try and find someone who was like gruff enough to take over the Hellboy mantle, he's a great option.
Yeah, no, he is a great option. That's the thing. That's the thing. Reading these details, I'm like, oh, that's really good. My only thing would be like it's gonna be an R-rated movie. So also the title's Rise of the Blood Queen, which is like cheesy, but that's kind of like whatever.
Hopefully that's just a standing title.
Under the working title, yeah. The only thing is like Hellboy's rated R, and I'm not like super familiar with the source material.
It's graphic.
I've read comics here and there. It doesn't seem like it needs to be though. That's the thing. Like it doesn't need to be R-rated. I don't know what they're gonna do with it aside from showing like a little more blood or like
the swearing would be the big one because Hellboy should be swearing at like a blue streak.
Yeah, like way more than.
Yeah, like it should be like really like. You know, he's a guy with like a cigar in his mouth with guns, shooting shit, crass talking.
Like Lobo?
Yeah, make him a little bit more like Lobo. Because, I mean, like, in the comic books, he's not swearing a blue streak, but I think, like, that would add that charm in the movie.
Like, I've only ever read, like, 4 comics of Hellboy, and, like, not even, like, too sequential, too that were just like random things I saw, type thing. So,
I mean, that's the thing. It's not. So I should preface that out there. He's not swearing a blue streak in the movie, or sorry, in the comic books, but in the movie he should be, so that we get kind of a Lobo-esque character, played up a little bit like Deadpool, which would be a little bit close to home since they're both red, but. Like
I just hope this isn't the first like Hollywood superhero movie where they're like Deadpool did good. Let's make this one R-rated. And just
they're all doing that. Let's just get over that fact. That's just going to be.
But they're not all doing that. They had Deadpool,
Wolverine,
then they had Logan. But Logan makes sense. We talked about this. Yes. He's a man with knife hands. Like he needs to stab.
Yeah, but this is supposed to be dark. This is a Frank Miller's piece of work, right? So like you need to get kind of.
It's not a Frank Miller piece of work. It's Mike Mignola.
Mike Mignola. Shit, right.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not Frank Miller.
Didn't Frank Miller do some drawing artwork for?
He may have. Yeah,
I think he did artwork for Hellboy for a while.
He could have. I know Mignola drew a lot of it at some whatever at the start, anyways.
But yeah, like this funny thing about this is now it's like horribly polarizing because I've watched a couple of people talk about the release and they're like the fans have come out and been like, "Boo, Perlman, we need our Del Toro back. You can't ever do this. It'll be a piece of shit without the two of them." And I'm like, I get it. Like love Perlman, love Del Toro, awesome. But at the same time, Perlman's like what, 60, 50?
Yeah, he's pretty old now.
And like I don't know, I don't really care about seeing him lug around all that shit again. Like,
I do. That's the thing, but I like where this is going, so it's hard for me to be like, I'm open to this anyways. That's the thing. Like,
yeah,
I would take either. I would take this over no Hellboy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Then again, because I like the director a lot. He's one of my favorite horror movies, so I can't really, say no to this. So.
Well, I love the character. I love Hellboy. It's always been a great iconic comic book. It was kind of very original. It is very original, and stands on its own. Its style and its story. Just something about it has that charm.
Yep, that's charm. It's a unique. It's just an inventive flair on the superhero trope. You know.
So I was totally down with it. So I'm really excited to see them taken into a new step. And that's the thing. Like, if they did Del Toro again, it would be basically it would be a sequel. If they did Perlman again, it would basically just be a sequel. But I think they need a new tone because I don't think that original Hellboy tone would work again.
No, but I don't think. I mean, this might work, but I don't think that this is gonna make money either. I think this will be another flop. You know what I mean? I don't know how well those movies did.
They didn't do well.
It did well enough to make a sequel, I guess. It's at one point.
No, even then, it was weird. It got a sequel because it never really made its money.
I can't see this all of a sudden being like Hellboy's Renaissance, where it's like everyone goes to see it. But who knows? I'm glad we're getting it. Nevertheless.
Yeah, but we could say the same thing about fucking Deadpool. Like, we as fans of the comic world were like, Deadpool's the most hardcore thing that ever existed, and awesome, yay. But I was always sitting there going, like, are people going to get it? And they did such a good job that people got it. And then, like, as per usual with nerds, we're dragging everyone in going, like, please like the things we like since childhood.
Also, excellent ad campaign on Deadpool, though. Yeah. They had all those fucking, like, fake, like, romantic comedy ads and stuff that were really good. Like, yeah, they did a great job. Anyways, more Hellboy. Good stuff. Yep. Happy about it. Again, just a little, like, it's almost like if you're dating someone and then, like, you break up and they're immediately dating someone else. You're like, what? It's a little like that for me. Speaking of Deadpool, Deadpool animated series co-created by Donald Glover, a.k.a. Childish Gambino, lands at FX.
Why do you always have to drop his rapper name?
Because that's how I knew him first. So saying Donald Glover is weird to me. Childish Gambino is like who he is to me.
Oh. This is a busy guy.
He does a lot. He's really busy.
He's really busy.
He's a rapper.
And
he's on like 500 things.
And he's like on 5 shows and like 5 movies.
Yeah. He's doing super well, and good for him. He seems like a cool guy, very talented. So FXX is working on an animated series for Marvel's Deadpool, which will be created by Donald Glover and Stephen Glover. Who the fuck's Stephen? Is that his dad? His dad. I would assume his brother, but maybe it's his dad.
Oh wait, no, sorry. I keep on thinking that Donald Glover is his dad, but it's not his dad.
No, let's assume. Okay, let's assume Stephen Glover's his dad.
No, or his brother. It's
been given a straight to series order with 10-episode first season expected to debut in 2018. And then it's just a bunch of shit where he says, how much more fun could this be? Deadpool, Donald, and FX, the perfect fit for the merc with the mouth. Okay, great. I don't care about your... Whatever. So, this is happening. I think this is cool. I think this is like the perfect place for Deadpool. The movie was great, obviously. Fingers crossed for the second one being just as great. But I think Deadpool would work as an R-rated animated series better.
Yeah.
You get to see... Like, I feel like he suits there a little better. You know what I mean?
Well,
do you feel the same?
I mean, because the movie worked, I'm not really concerned in what medium he's in. But that's the thing about Deadpool, right? Like, he's supposed to be able to bounce between any of them.
Yeah.
Like, you could literally walk off a page of a comic book if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think there's any world he can't work in, because that's how he was designed. But, you know, like, is there... I don't know. It didn't excite me when I found out about an animated feature. I was just like, okay, cool. I'll watch it.
I'm more excited about this than 2. I think this could be super cool if they give him, like, a 10-episode, like, cool arc, and there's a bunch of fucking jokes and stuff. Jokes, Mike.
That's your sales pitch. Your sales pitch is louder. You're like, yeah, I'm just naming the things
like,
he's
sits
doing.
back in the room. He's like, jokes. They lean in. Holy shit. Holy shit. And
Donald
he's like,
Glover joke.
And he's like, he put his hand up. Marvel. They're sweating like fucking, just like pulling up their shirt, trying to like stop the sweat from happening.
They're all getting hard-ons, and the girls are getting wet.
One guy's beating up in the corner already.
Tell me more, tell me more.
And I, Donald Glover, will executive produce it. And then the guy fucking in the corner comes.
It's just like a shot zooms out to like just the glass windows around the boardroom, and it just sprayed across all the windows you can't even see in.
One man faints like a Victorian like woman, like woo! Well, see, my hopes for the series is that it's like something that looks like kind of like Korra or something, where it's like beautifully animated, you know.
Oh,
like
well,
lots
for
of
10
great
episodes it
fight
will be.
choreo. Yeah, exactly. It's like a short series. You know, it's not going to be like the stuff. You know, no offense to anyone who works on. If you're listening to, you work on Disney XD, I think it is, like the Guardians of the Galaxy show or something, like
I haven't watched
where
it.
like the animation isn't this little subpar. It's just like regular
seen
TV animation or something. Like this seems like it's 10 episodes. It could be really good.
Yeah,
Animation where we get like actually good fight scenes with Deadpool and stuff.
Yeah, I think my whole thing with it is that I always kind of had this fear of that, like, I knew everyone was going to fall in love with the character. He's one of the better, actually kind of accidental designs of like perfection out there in the superhero world. But just like when we fell in love with him in the comic books, and like when he had that prime age of being funny psychotic, he became the chimichurri or Chimichanga, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Like slapstick, I like fart jokes.
Lol random
Character, which is dumb because of the oversaturation. And then suddenly also in comic books are like, let's make many versions of him. Gwenpool to something pool to something pool.
Oh, well, I mean, and then, like they shove Deadpool into everything now. They're like, here's Deadpool. He was actually in the Secret Wars from the 1980s, and like he had the black suit first, and like all this shit. And like, there's any excuse I feel like to shove him in somewhere. They're like, let's do it.
Yeah.
I want Donald Glover to make Spawn funny, basically. I want like a dark TV show that's like well animated, really good fight scenes, but also there's humor to it.
It's like Rick and Morty meets Spawn.
Yes. Rick and Morty meets Spawn. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Send it into production. Okay, now what's next? Spider-Man 4 that never was. Alright, so Sam Raimi apparently, I guess he just talked about what could have happened in Spider-Man 4. Like, they were planning on making it at some point before we got the Andrew Garfield reboot, so...
How on earth was he even thinking about it? It was so sad after that third one.
As we're continuing on Spider-Man 4, Raimi couldn't quite get the script right. He was continually unhappy with the story, and Sony wanted to bring the Lizard into the fold, finally capitalizing on Dylan Baker's role from the first 3 movies. That was such a cock tease. I remember seeing the dude without the arm, and I was like, oh my god, the Lizard! Yeah. Raimi was admittedly exhausted, still only a year or so after Spider-Man 3 came out, and the filmmaker hadn't made a non-Spider-Man movie since the 2000s' The Gift. And thus, he and Sony decided to part ways, with the filmmaker describing the split thusly. I don't really give a fuck what he says about the split.
Why? About his movie. Okay.
Yeah, it's him splitting from Sony. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to make a movie that's less than great, so I think I should make.
So the 4th movie was going to be about the Lizard, and that was it.
I guess.
Probably would have been a better movie.
The entire core cast was set to return, but this time around, Raimi was intent on finally bringing to screen a Spider-Man villain close to his heart, Vulture. Oh. And they're doing Vulture in Homecoming now. Indeed, Raimi considered Vulture for Spider-Man 3 with Ben Kingsley in the role, but ultimately cut the character. This time, though, he wasn't going to be talked into using a character he didn't like, and he had none other than John Malkovich set to play the antagonist. As the script developed, Raimi also threw Felicia Hardy into the mix with Anne Hathaway in the role. Didn't Anne Hathaway become Catwoman in
Dark Knight? That's DC.
Yeah, I know.
Felicia Hardy is Black Cat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
No, I know. I'm just...
You're talking about the DC.
Is she playing, like... Yeah. It's just weird that, like, she was going to be Black Cat. And
everyone just looks at her and goes, like, that's a cat lady.
Yeah, like, what? Though instead of becoming Black Cat, the character would become the villain Vulturous in the film.
That's a bad fucking idea. Good God, I'm glad that didn't happen. Yeah. We all just threw up in our mouths a little.
That's gross. I really want a fucking Spider-Man movie to use Mysterio at some point. Mysterio was so fun. You could have
like full fishbowl Mysterio.
Full fishbowl Mysterio. Yeah, make him. Yes, yeah, exactly what you're picturing in your head. Make it happen on screen. I want that to happen.
Yeah.
And I want fucking him to throw down those stupid dumb little cubes and just flashes shit in Spider-Man's eyes, and he's like, I'm in the jungle. Like, I want that. Or he's in the Arctic, or he's in a fucking MC Escher painting. I don't care. You know, like I want something where he's like just in a bunch of crazy scenarios.
Mysterio would be very cool, but it would be like it would almost be a Dark Knight situation, which would be fine, but you'd have to do it so well where the villain would be super cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or I've always wanted Kraven.
Yes.
Kraven hunting Spider-Man in New York City is like that's just cool.
Yeah. He's
hunting him at school and shit, and he's like, gotta be like, nah, fuck.
Yeah. And you could make him
like looking out the window, this crazy beast man's like looking at his lips.
He's just like in the tree, and like all the students are trying to pretend like they don't see him. Yeah. Like students don't look at him. If you look at it in the eye,
they're trying to call the cops.
He's just like he's like writing it on the board. 911 text.
Yeah, text. Yeah, fuck yeah. Kraven just fuck. I love Kraven. Yeah, he's good. He'd be good in the movie. I'm surprised they haven't used him. I don't know if like everyone looks at him and just thinks like whatever. He's a hunter man. But like that's so cool. He's a hunter man.
This is why you wouldn't work in a boardroom scenario, because you wouldn't sell it very well. Like you come in and be like, I want to do Kraven because he's hunter man. That's so cool. You know, and then you're like scotch drinking like businessman would be like, this man's a fucking idiot.
Who hired him? How did he get in here?
What's with the beanie?
It's 70 degrees outside. Take it off. All right. Jason Schreier from Kotaku. He's a little motherfucker. He's giving out these like teensy little news bits in his Twitter feed. Jason Schreier, I know you're not listening, but if you are, come onto our podcast, please. So, you know, if you're browsing through fucking Jason Schreier's timeline on Twitter, some man asked him, John Boy DC Comics, asked him, any new scoop about the new Batman game from WB Games Montreal? Is the game being unveiled at E3? And Jason Schreier replies, I wouldn't get your hopes up too much for that one yet. Last I heard, it was rebooted. And then he says, so no Damian Wayne then? And then Jason Schreier replies with a succinct IDK.
I don't know.
He's
like, I don't know. It's funny that both of all of his tweets like just basically read out like with this really blasé like just. You know, I wouldn't get your hopes up. That one, the last I heard, it was rebooted. So no Damian Wayne. Like, I don't even give. What the fuck do you care?
So if you haven't been listening to the podcast before, we reported on 2 different Batman games. We remember maybe 3. Where there was one where it was like set in a Gotham that was like on a beach or something.
Yeah.
Some shit. It's sad, but like this person gave so many details. And like Clockmaster.
It was the main villain.
Yeah, there's all this shit.
Clockmaster is not going to be the main villain.
But anyway, Jason Schreier came in and like actually debunked that and said like, no, what I've heard is it's a Damian Wayne game. And if you don't know, Jason Schreier is the fucking news editor for Kotaku, so he's not one to like say a bunch of fake shit. He's a professional. And he's actually a really good reporter. He just released a book and stuff.
Blood, Sweat, and Pixels.
Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. That's the one. Right there.
Yep. That's why I knew it. I sounded smart for a second, and then
I was like, how does he know that? But yeah, the other one that we heard repeatedly now, probably twice from Schreier, was a Damian Wayne-led Batman game, which is Batman's son, who's currently Robin in the comics. Which me and Mike, are constantly kind of looking at each other like, what? Like, what the fuck is why? Well. I mean, there's potential for that to be cool, but it's so limited. It's like it's very unlikely anyone's ever going to harness it.
No, yeah. This is like this one person that like no one knows. He's Batman now. What? Yeah,
interesting that it was maybe rebooted and that like so we're probably quite a ways away from ever hearing what a Batman game.
Well, I mean, if you said last I heard it was rebooted, it just means that like whatever dev cycle is behind this Batman game, the engine isn't even running yet. Right now, it's just like Marge Simpson in her car. Like that's it. Yeah, and it's just stalled out in the winter, in the Canadian winter of Montreal. Like that's it. And I kind of expect that because with what happened with all the Dark Knight stuff from not Rocksteady.
Yeah, Rocksteady's the original developer.
Yeah, with Rocksteady and them going like, no more Batman. The next game has to depart away from the Dark Knight formula. is gonna. I mean, I'm sure it'll be similar in a lot of ways, but
Well, this is WB Montreal making this one. Rocksteady's not on this.
no, I know that's what I mean. So they're trying to get away as far away from the Dark Knight game as possible, right? So they're gonna. It will probably be third person, but will they be jumping around a city that's in perpetual night? No,
Hope not.
you know, I know. Like, I don't think anyone truly, honestly wants that again. We want another experience where we picked up Arkham and we're like, what the fuck, like. So I think WB's got its eyes on doing that, right? So hence rebooted and just stuck in its cycle. It's probably just stuck there. But I like listening to this guy talk because he's just like, oh.
I don't know. I'm really like good at my job or whatever, but like...
I look at you report. It's literally in the title of everything. It'd just be like, Batman Rebooted. I don't know.
Probably.
Maybe.
That's what I heard. I'm just the news editor at Kotaku.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that little site. Actually, you know what? I never really read Kotaku. I still don't. Like, I
do.
Is it one you go to? I know it's the one a lot of people go to. It just never became in my wheelhouse. I checked Joystick way more often. Do you remember Joystick?
Yes.
Yeah, I checked that. That was my like news game blog of choice at the time. And then, but like I know a lot of my friends check Kotaku.
I don't know if I check it. I think most of the time, most of the links. That's probably because everyone else checks it. Because like for the Mass Effect news and stuff like that was from Kotaku when I got the news from that. So
no, Kotaku's good. They got a lot of good reporters there. That's the thing. I'm just an idiot. All right, Pray for the Gods. One of the games in our top 10 upcoming 2017 indie games is getting a name change.
So, as to cover a little bit so that you get an idea, the title for it was Pray for the Gods, so Prey for the Gods. So, like, prey, like, you are the prey, or the animal is prey.
Yeah.
And then pray for the gods when you fight these gods, like praying to the gods. Wonderful little... Is that a juxtaposition?
Play on words, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could be a juxtaposition, too, because you're the prey, but you're also praying to them. Yeah.
So it's a neat little juxtaposition, wonderful play on words, excellent choice in title, and then Bethesda came along and wanted to fuck up their shit.
Yeah, so Bethesda, I don't think it's actually Bethesda, I think it's their parent studio, ZeniMax Media, who's making these moves, because they also tried to sue or they had a dispute in 2012 over with Mojang, the people who make fucking Minecraft. They had a game in development called Scrolls, and they were like, you can't have a fucking game named Scrolls. And they're like, why? Like, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, you can't have Scrolls. And they were like, what? And then they went to court.
You can't trademark the word Scrolls for all English.
I know, isn't that crazy?
I remember that shit. So, but these guys gave in.
Well, that's the thing. Pray for the Gods is like this little indie developer that got its kickstarted game. They're trying so hard, and they're like, and Bethesda just released Prey, and they think that people are going to be like, nah, people are going to think it's a Prey sequel, bro. You can't do that.
Yeah, but the thing is, again, like, they don't have the right to have the ownership of the word Prey. Like, but these guys gave in. But you're so small, and Bethesda comes over to you and goes, you can't. You're just going to probably be like, okay.
That's exactly what it says. So it says, so we didn't want to do this, but we had to change our name from Pray for the Gods to Pray for the Gods.
Which is spelled Praey.
Yeah. Thankfully, we have to keep the logo, but we have to spell it Pray for the Gods. No Matter Studios said that ZeniMax Media, parent company of Bethesda Softworks and owner of the Prey trademark, opposed its trademark application after it was submitted last May. In January, the developer abandoned its filing for Pray for the Gods, unwilling to fight ZeniMax over the title.
Just not enough money to do it.
It's not. With the reboot of the cult classic Prey launching later this week, it makes sense that ZeniMax Media would especially be protective of its trademark. For a much smaller, crowdfunded project that has yet to enter the closed alpha stage, fighting back to keep the original name, quote, wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
While we disagree with their opposition, we were able to come to an agreement. It was eventually something that kept us up many nights and no doubt shifted our focus from our game frequently.
We're going to come back later on and be like, grammatically it sounds the same.
Yeah. Worrying about the outcome if we went to trial and we'd lose our fans or walk away from the mark, we'd potentially get sued for millions over trademark infringement. This is really something no starting company would want to deal with, let alone a tiny team of 3. So the fact that we came out on the other end intact, still developing the game, was a win. It's kind of shitty that, like, this happened.
What a fucking bullshit thing to do.
I know, yeah.
Like, after the Scrolls thing, you're like, what a bullshit, and then this, like, fuck.
At least Mojang has Minecraft and they can defend themselves. Like, if they're Minecraft, they have all the money. So, like, they can be like, whatever. We'll fight you in court over this, but, like, like, fuck.
That's so shitty.
Oh my god. Okay, wait, there's another trademark claim in 2015 when a fan project called Fortress Fallout underwent a name change after a legal threat from ZeniMax. The company owns the trademark for Fallout, and it successfully requested the creator of the unrelated project abandon its trademark application.
Oh my god.
I mean, again, Fallout is like nuclear fallout. It's a word. You can stop it.
Yes.
You fucking.
It's just like, do you think any other game that has Final in it, Final Fantasy's going around and being like, you can't use Final? Like, what? I don't think so, because there's lots of other games with Final in it.
Square's like, you can't use of. We have Legend of Mana. Bethesda Software's vice president Pete Hines told Polygon that the company, quote, didn't have much of a choice in opposing No Matter Studio trademark request. If we don't oppose the mark, we risk losing our Prey trademark, and that isn't acceptable. Unfortunately, that's how trademark law works.
I don't think so.
So, I understand. It's why when you hear news stories like there's a daycare in buttfuck nowhere, and they did a mural of a Disney princess on the side for the kids or something, and then Disney's like, no, you can't do that. We gotta sue you. Everyone's like, oh, come on, Disney, you pieces of shit. Like, why are you going after this little daycare in the middle of nowhere? And it's like, because if they make that leniency, then any other, if someone else does it, then other lawyers have something to point to where you're like, well, it was okay in this instance, it was okay in this instance, why isn't it okay when, fucking 20th Century Fox made Mickey Mouse, or, whatever exaggeration I'm using, right?
Yeah, but the thing is that I always find like a double standard because these companies let other things slide. So like Disney does not sue the tens of thousands of artists who make pretty much their living off of fan art.
It's true. So I wonder if some of that stuff it falls under parody if you're doing a Disney mashup of like, look at all these salads that look like Disney princesses or whatever, No, but that falls under parody, so I think it's okay.
But I've seen straight fan art. It's a completely new image, but it is
just their character.
Just their character, and they sell it, and they don't get any sued for it.
That line is so blurry, because you see it being crossed all the time, but no legal option ever happens.
If that mural literally took a picture from something else that was published by Disney and just copied it onto spray painted a copy of it onto the wall, maybe there's something else there that of course they have to defend themselves because they might lose their trademark, blah, blah, blah. But nevertheless, I've seen other people sell shit. For God's sakes, there's some of these stupid fucking companies out there selling artwork from games and comic books and shit that are just like, hey, look, we put it onto 5 metal plates that are they're smaller to bigger to smaller.
Or or you just see and here's the sprite from Final Fantasy VI on a t-shirt. Yeah. We just ripped it up.
Yeah, and they're they got a whole fucking entire website of this shit up, and it's been running for 5 years.
I wonder if there's just too much of that to they did. They're like, okay, lawyers, go, and they just Google it once, and there's fuck. There's 7 billion hits. Yeah. We have to ignore this. Yeah, you're right. I'm not sure what the line is.
They have an app that just lists all of them and they spin it every day and pick one.
The thing is, I don't think that any normal person is going to look at the name Scrolls and be like, that's Elder Scrolls. That's Skyrim 2. Scrolls is Skyrim 2. Or they're going to look at Prey for the Gods and be like, oh, the sequel to Prey, is that the same year Prey came out? That sounds right. I can't imagine that happening, but,
No, but they're trying to blame it on...
It's weird because it's these one words where it's it's just a word. It's not...
The other weird part about it too is that it's not like every company is making this kind of fuss. It's Bethesda over and over again over one word.
Yeah, it's...
If every other company was Final Fantasy was going around being like, no one used Final, and standing there and
no one used Fantasy, yeah.
Fantasy, no, don't write an F. That would be a thing. I'm all these game companies are trying to protect their trademark. We got to figure out a way around it. But it's just Bethesda going you used a word we used.
Yeah, I wonder why they're being so aggressive about it. Is it just one person in that fucking...
Well, there's this one lawyer who's just everyone has no job, and he's sitting there and he's just constantly waiting for something to do. And then suddenly he's
he's really trying.
They're using a word.
He's just trying to justify his salary.
Yeah.
They
won't keep us on retainer.
All right. So first of the E3 leaks, we're moving on now. Fuck ZeniMax. So there's a rumor that came out earlier this week, and it had a lot of updates. The first one was Far Cry 5 is set in the Wild West 19th century.
The Wild West.
Wild West.
The Wild
West. Wild West. Wild West. The setting of Far Cry 5, or whatever the next Far Cry game ends up being called, is apparently leaked online in the most unconventional way. Great Falls Tribune, some fucking nobody paper, reported about a film crew shooting a live-action trailer for an unannounced game near a church in the Montana prairie. Jeff Gillett, the producer on the shoot, revealed to the paper that this is for a game that's to be released in September. The most obvious franchise here is Far Cry 5. Early in 2015, Ubisoft polled players about several possible settings it could use for the next Far Cry game. A game in spaghetti western style set in the 19th century Americas was one of the choices. So much shit happened, and Jason Schreier popped up and said, hey, since my name has been attached to this thing, I just want to be clear. All I've heard about the new Far Cry is that it's set in Montana. I cannot confirm or deny anything, Wild West or 19th century, and all that stuff actually feels like a big stretch from bottom-feeding rumor websites. I have no idea whether or not it's true. Yeah. So then
someone's throwing some shade.
So then someone else, going back in the archive of the giant bombcast, The Giant Bomb crew received an email about it in December, and the game is indeed set in Montana, and the main character is a cop. So someone wrote in, I guess, claiming to work on a game, and they said, like, this is happening in Far Cry 5, and the Giant Bomb guys were like, okay, like, whatever. Like, I doubt it. The segment, and then according to him, the game will be set in present day. The protagonist is a cop who's trying to run down a rebel group who has taken over some ranches and whatnot in the Montana region of the United States. Not 100% sure if it's Montana, but it's somewhere around there, and they're shooting in Montana, so... Probably a live-action trailer for Far Cry 5 getting released at E3, and it's going to say coming this September. Who knows?
Well, but it's something that's going to come out, so expect something cowboy at least at E3.
Yep. Let's talk about Hideo Kojima.
This is fun.
And his perfectly bizarre explanation of how Death Stranding's coming along. So, Hideo Kojima just appearing at every event ever imaginable. He's at Tribeca this year.
To talk about nothing.
It's not to say the man does no work, but, like, he seems to have been out a lot. You know what I mean? Just, like, gallivanting the world.
How much... I mean, it's the internet age. You can do a lot of management away from the studio, but
sure.
If you're not there to, like, stand over someone and see their content, because they're not going to give you, like, this is the models and the level we're working on. Like, they're not doing that over fucking email. Like, you know, so he's... Yeah, you're right. Like, what the fuck?
He seems like he's out a lot. And I get he's, like, a huge figurehead now, and, you know, he's doing schmoozing a lot, you know, maybe trying to recruit fucking more celebrities for the game.
But you're supposed to be directing your game. Like, you need to be there.
Yeah, you'd think, right?
You'd think.
He's just fucking throwing a bunch of napkin doodles at them, and he puts it into a fan, and they blow everywhere into little bits, and he's like, that's the challenge. And then he's like, I want this all done by the time I'm back, and he leaves, and they're like scrambling to get all the different pieces to put back together.
No, it's worse than that. He probably he writes it all down meticulously by hand on paper, puts it through a shredder, and then sticks it into that like machine that goes like the big air spaghetti guns, right? Everywhere. And then he just takes a picture of what it is all on the floor and sends it to them by email.
This is what I want.
Yeah. This is what the game should be. Do you understand the message hidden within?
He's just fucking riddles with his company.
They got like professional code breakers just answering his emails.
Fucking like he comes home and his wife's like, "Where have you been? On Tuesdays I never tell a lie. On Wednesdays I never tell the truth. Which day should you ask me this? Shut up." Just head down.
Get in. Your children haven't seen you in 2 months.
All right. Okay. So, during his interview at the Tribeca Games Festival in New York City, Hideo Kojima squirmed through several Death Stranding-based questions he could not answer. But when moderator Jeff Keighley asked a very simple one, "How's production on Death Stranding going?" Kojima gave a wonderfully esoteric answer. "So far, it's going pretty well." He could have left it there. In fact, we expected him to. But this is Kojima, who is as verbose as he is inscrutable. This is a Polygon article, by the way, and I just want to say the way they wrote this is just...
It's wonderful.
Then he laid out a metaphor to describe just where Kojima Productions is with the first game. Okay, get ready for this. Really keep your ears tuned to the podcast. If you're cleaning, if you're washing dishes, just stand still in the room and look forward at a blank wall.
And start breaking this down somehow, because you can't.
Let's say that Norman's character is walking in New York. He clarifies, Death Stranding's not set in New York. This is just an analogy. Okay. Got it? Okay. We're trying to see if what we can depict with Decima Engine, the engine that's running Horizon, actually looks like New York. If it scales correctly and feels good there. Let's say the character goes in an Italian restaurant. Who the character meets going into the restaurant, what he will be eating. All those details are set. What we're working on right now is what kind of table will be there. What kind of specific details will be there. What's on the specific menu for this restaurant. What the fuck? So, what... Okay, look, let's break...
So I love the line that's after this, though, when he's like, should we expect a kind of dinner dash style game from Death Stranding? Because, literally, like, what is this about? And he's like, did he order the spaghetti today?
Yeah.
Did he not order the spaghetti today? What does that mean?
Changes his Twitter name to, like, Hideo Spaghetti, and everyone's like, what?
But the thing is,
Spaghetti is like the tentacles that bind us.
Yeah. The thing is, too, is he didn't even say anything masterfully with all of this, because he's like, it's not about going in and having all these options on this menu, right? Which you're like, because like he's talking about it first and going, and you're like, oh, so when you get in there, you're going to make it where like you can make all the choices and choose anything you want. And instead he starts going, oh no, it's a set menu and a set thing, and we're trying to figure out, basically, we're making a game. Because he's like, we're making it a table. And we're making the cutlery. And then we make the menu. So, like every other game?
Yeah, so what is the analogy here?
Yeah.
Is he talking about, is this world building? Is he talking about, like, we have is this an analogy for, we have the base story, we have, like, general things, but we're trying to decide right now, like,
the details,
the very specific details. Like, it does, but also, what's on a specific menu in a restaurant doesn't matter in anything, aside from very meticulously detailed shows, like something like Hannibal or something, right? Where the people are fucking crazy working on it. Also, Hannibal's about food, so that makes sense. Is that what he's talking about?
But that's what I mean, because like what he's talking about sounds like just literally what you do in game design. Because like in Studio A, that is not
a normal person would be like, we have the storyboards down. Yeah. We're starting to make the models. Then we're gonna be animated, or something,
And then like even if they got to making a restaurant, they would sit down and be like, all right, so we're gonna have like cutlery. It's a French restaurant, so like it'll have like all the fancy cutlery. And then we're going to set up like 2 plates on the tables. And like this is what actually happens when you design out a space and you're like, all right, some flowers. And then we'll make a menu. And usually people actually stop and look at stuff like that. So like we'll make up a little French menu.
Is it a high-end restaurant?
Is it a high-end? And then like that's normal. So he's saying in a really weird way that they're currently doing that part.
Yeah.
Like, so he's basically going, so we're making a game. And then just like quiet. Like that's it. Like that's his response. But in the weirdest way about talking about fucking New York and Italian restaurants.
What are you talking about, Hideo?
Why do you do these things?
What are you talking about? Okay, another quote from the...
If you ever wonder, like, it's funny, whenever he stalks, and anytime you sit back and you think, why did I ever read all that shit in Metal Gear Solid? Why does any of it even exist? Why does it make any sense? And literally, it's just Hideo Kojima with, like, one of those old, like, I remember you used to record yourself in with a little tape cassette.
Yes.
Just sitting there and, like, talking into that that's hanging off of his belt, and he's just talking. You know? And then they make it into a script, and they're like... Lalelulelo.
Speaking of Lalelulelo, Kojima's games are known for being very story-heavy. A lot of cutscenes up until Metal Gear Solid 5. We all know what happened there. And recently, he's expressed interest in taking video game storytelling to the next level. He said he wants to convey key plot points and drama through gameplay. Kojima said most games have used cutscenes, dialogue, and monologue to do this. However, he wants to explore other storytelling methods. And then there's been a bunch of speculation and stuff. Any stabs? Any random fucking just guesses you have?
No. I mean, I want to try. Like, who the fuck knows? I mean, there's some really the theorist stuff is always going really far, because like even thinking this article, they're talking about like how the handcuffs blink like the DS4 light bar. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Like. Maybe, and you know what? Maybe every once in a while you have to wiggle your controller, but is that all that new? Like, you know?
No, but is that storytelling either? That's not really storytelling. Is it something? He said people are going to be connected in this game, but in a non-traditional way through like the stick metaphor. Maybe this whole fucking thing with sticks. He's such a fucking riddle master. But so like, is it going to be like? I doubt it's going to be like a massively multiplayer online game. Like, it's not going to be like World of Warcraft or anything. No. But is it going to be like something like Dark Souls, where you know how you can see like the ghosts of other people who've died recently, like there's a blood stain and you can watch how they died? Is it going to be something that takes something like that a little further, where people are in this world and you can touch them with your tentacles or something?
So here's the thing that we have to start doing with this, because like he did this stuff for all the Metal Gears, right? He's been doing this for years, and we always sit back and try and hypothesize about what his incredible, weird, breaking thing was, right? Now, every once in a while, he does have those moments, like the Psycho Mantis thing in Metal Gear Solid, like the Kojima pops up and all that shit. Like, weird things that kind of break the meta, which is cool, but they're like 20-minute segments. At the end of the day, it's a game that's a stealth game with a shooting mechanic. Like, that's really about it.
You're not wrong.
He really doesn't actually do... Like, he doesn't make the whole game into this giant metaphor. It's not that far.
And like Metal Gear 3 had the whole, like, healing and crafting thing, and it was very, like... intricate, but it was new for the time, but it wasn't
yeah, so I don't think we should be looking at this going like, how is he going to be like changing the brand? Like, what he'll probably do is something we've sort of seen before, but just with a kind of a cool edge. So maybe it's that like some of the areas are going to literally just load in as online areas, and whatever someone else has done there to influence that area will influence what the level looks like for you.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
That could be a cool thing. Yeah, because he said something of the tentacles touching or whatever the fuck it was, or
Yeah, like maybe someone else made a connection to a certain area, and then it loads into this section, and it turns out you can see like the impact of someone else already passing through here, and then you can undo that, and then someone else would see what you've done, and like that's it, just to give you a sense of like the world being a little bit more alive, like which isn't new. We've seen stuff like that before, but it would be very cool.
Yeah, it's also interesting for him to say that he doesn't want to do cutscenes anymore, because like he's like
the cutscene king.
Yeah, he's like hour and 20-minute cutscene is no problem in the middle of the game. Yeah. Fuck you for telling me different. Like, it's no problem. Also, it's a merchant with his monkey in a diaper. He's gonna talk for an hour and a half. Get ready.
I would just love like Hideo Kojima to just like literally lose his mind and like disappear for 20 years, and he comes back out on stage eventually, and then it's just him in his little spotlight. He just pulls down his pants and takes a dump on the stage and leaves. Everyone's like, "What does it mean?"
Dude, he could do anything at E3. Yeah, we would lose our shit.
But I want him to like literally just abuse his power that far. Like, just take a dump on the stage, Hideo, and I will be like cheering. Everyone else will be quiet, but I'll be there going, "Yes."
Last story. Mass Effect is on hiatus. Most of BioWare Montreal staff, now at Motive, still in multiplayer.
Watch this, Lise. You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half. And now.
So bad. This makes me so angry inside, just because like I fucking love the Mass Effect universe. I get it. Andromeda sucked. No, it didn't suck. Andromeda was great. It's just everyone else didn't really like it, and the faces were broken for a while. They did fix them.
There was a lot of shitty things when that game launched. It shouldn't have launched the way it did.
No.
And they've been patching it. I mean, it's May now, but they've been patching it all fairly quickly. They had another big patch just came out today, I think, as we're recording this.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's just shitty it launched that way, and I wonder what it would have been like if we couldn't have shared all those gifs of the shitty walks and the terrible faces and stuff. Because I imagine that's a lot of the bad talk around it, right? Like, you know, it's weird that this one hit with such a clunk, and then now they're immediately being like, yeah, it's on hiatus. Like, this soon after.
It pains me inside so much to have to think about my game not being produced anymore, you know? Like, my heart breaks right now just so much thinking about, like, waiting maybe 10 years for the next Andromeda game to come out for some stupid fucking... that's not stupid fucking, because you know what? The idea of BioWare making a freaking online game like Destiny actually sounds really cool.
Yeah, that's BioWare's other project right now.
So, like, I mean, it sucks, and they're shifting all this over. I've known people, or actually, I should call him. I know someone who works at BioWare Montreal. So, like, the shift around really sucks. But, you know, yeah, it's really kind of breaks my heart to think about Mass Effect. I'm stuck with Andromeda until.
Well, okay, let me read the little bit of the article here. In the wake of BioWare's polarizing Mass Effect Andromeda, fans have wondered where the lauded sci-fi series will go next. The answer, according to people familiar with the studio, is nowhere, at least for the time being. BioWare has put Mass Effect on hiatus and turned Andromeda developer BioWare Montreal into a support studio, according to 4 sources close to the company. That doesn't mean there will never be another Mass Effect game, of course. It's unlikely that BioWare will kill the popular sci-fi franchise, but BioWare is letting Mass Effect sit for a while rather than putting staff on Andromeda's follow-up right away, the sources said. Highlights are the majority of BioWare Montreal staff has been moved over to EA Motive, who is making Star Wars Battlefronts 2 campaign, and a new open-world IP. The rest of the remaining staff is working on multiplayer content for Mass Effect Andromeda, along with supporting BioWare Edmonton's new IP. Some are also finishing updates to the single player. And Mass Effect isn't dead. This wouldn't be the first time an EA series went on hiatus and then never returned.
This is like the very moment that you hear Mike's heart break.
So, this is... It's so shitty. We're both Mass Effect fans. I haven't played Andromeda yet. I think I'm probably going to play it later this year. I mean, for sure I am, because we got to do Game of the Year. But... So do you think if this takes more than like let's say another 5 years, do you think they do Andromeda 2, or do you think they just fucking cut the cord and do another like new one, and Andromeda will just be this weird fucking off in the distance one?
No, because the storyline's now flowing, right? So the way this is, it's a little spoilery.
No,
but it's
let's
not.
say it then.
Okay, so I can readjust it. So the story that happened with Shepard done.
Yeah.
There is no like continuing Mass Effect 4. Like, that story is told. We can't go back there. Get over it, guys. The Andromeda story is now able to continue. It did end, right? But what they could easily do is just set it like 30 years in the future from after we colonized this area and had our initial, like, you know, Pathfinder, you know, came and saved the day, blah, blah, blah. And now... you know, we're set here in the future, but they set this up with a lot of mysteries of things to come, and things to expect with this game, that like to just literally get on to the next one and be like, well, what happened to all this stuff?
I know, but how long do you think they wait between this being such a story-driven game? Do you think that, I'm just thinking like after a certain amount of time they wouldn't make a sequel? You know what I mean? They'd make another new one, another reboot.
So I mean, Mass Effect isn't officially dead, though it wouldn't be the first time EA's series went on hiatus and never returned. That's true, but this is also BioWare.
Dead Space.
Yeah.
Dead Space!
This is BioWare. Also, while BioWare is basically like a bitch of EA.
They're subsidiary.
They still have to get the say and come up and pitch their products, and Mass Effect is not going away.
So I wonder if this seems really quick after the game launched, right? Like to have this reaction. I wonder if it's because of the fucking like Holocaust-like reaction to the end of Mass Effect 3, which get over it, guys, come on. And then now people really blowing some of these bugs out of proportion, you know?
No, I mean,
like
yes,
just all the bad, not specifically those things, but just the bad word of mouth. Like, do you think they're just like, okay, fuck it, put this series on ice. This is not worth the trouble.
Okay, I think that it's an influencer for sure. I don't think it's the decision maker because that doesn't usually stop any company. But I think actually in my head, and like I'm kind of making this up, so don't take it as truth. So BioWare Montreal wasn't the producer or maker of any of the other BioWares. They were the maker of the expansions of the other, the other Mass Effects. They did the expansions for Mass Effect 2, the expansions for Mass Effect 3, right? The actual game itself was made somewhere else. And then this time, apparently, the core studio for Mass Effect Andromeda was the Montreal studio, a studio that's only ever worked on making expansions.
Yeah, I mean, it was them.
So, if that's the case, they've never done ground-up game, right? And this was the ground-up. Like, I mean, while the engine functions...
Didn't they do Inquisition? Am I wrong? Wasn't that BioWare Montreal?
I don't think so.
I
mean, look it up.
You keep talking now.
Yeah. But it could be. Even if that's the case, like, still, Dragon Age Inquisition was just an expansion at the end of the day. Like, it wasn't, like, a completely brand new thing.
Wasn't it on a new engine? Wasn't that the first one on Frostbite?
Was it?
I believe so.
Well, look up the Frostbite part of it, but...
So it is on Frostbite. I don't know if it's the first one, but I'm pretty sure it is. Or hearing that a bunch of times. It just says developer BioWare. I'm not sure if it was Montreal or not.
It should say somewhere in here. Anyways, they're still not the most exposed to constantly working on like one game from the ground up, and as it works with them, they're probably just building themselves.
Looks like regular BioWare.
Sorry, building themselves for the first time through this game, making lots of mistakes, making a lot of errors, and with a giant franchise and a tight deadline. One that it shouldn't have gone to this studio, not entirely to this one. Like they didn't outsource enough of it to BioWare Edmonton, like they should have. They didn't. I feel like this studio-wise was mismanaged and handed to the wrong hands, and I think that's where like the flop kind of came in, right? I know they don't have the original team anymore, but they should have like kind of left it where it was and let that baby kind of percolate where it was supposed to have been. And I think that's where the failure came in, and that's why Montreal got sacked. They were like, "All right, guys, here's your test. Can you take a major title like this and succeed entirely with it?" And they didn't. So they're like, "All right, I don't think BioWare Montreal is worth the
You're
effort."
a support studio now, yeah.
Yeah, you're a support studio again, actually, because Montreal studios a lot of the time are support studios. We're going to cut down your staff, and we're going to shove this into the background and move on, right? And I think this whole move is a reevaluation of the whole system, where they're like, all right, we tried it, you guys didn't succeed, and I mean, you made glaring errors.
Yep.
So we have to punish you, basically, in a way. We're going to be like, all right, support studio again, we're going to take away all your extra staff we gave you and expanded with. We're going to put them off on this current IP, which is our next game, which is probably slated to be released into 2018. And then we'll take whatever you've done with Mass Effect in Andromeda in this new universe, and we're going to evolve it again later on after we're done with this task. Which, strategically as a business, despite as a gamer meaning delays and waits, sucks, right? But I have to think about it this way as well, is like the idea of BioWare, people who make the best character-driven games in the gaming industry, period. Like, all the conversation systems and all that shit, like that's them. Are going to go off and make a game as big as something like Destiny and try and do it better than them and right from the get-go. Yeah, their entire staff should be working on that right now.
Probably true.
And let's not pull what they did at Bungie and when 12 people
and then scrap the story by accident.
Yeah.
The story's online in cards. Can you
I think
read there? Thanks.
I think they're just like, wow, we aren't managing things correctly. We didn't manage Montreal correctly. We didn't manage this game correctly. We thought Mass Effect would just kind of empower people to do greatness, and we didn't do it. So here's our management. They hired some guy to come in and be like, all right, let's cut the fat. Let's figure this out. Let's get this all arranged. So I feel like it's all very strategic. It's not moves that are going to make us happy, but it's going to produce better quality games from BioWare in the future and future Mass Effect. But it does mean, like, if they're backburnering it, they're not even working on it for the next 3 years, and then it'll be 3 years of dev, so it's like 6 years until we see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, that's it for the news. Stay tuned for our sweet, hot, spicy E3 prediction. Welcome back to the fucking hype train!
Where you put the WWE music in.
www.e3hype.com. That is the fucking Pens and Pixel podcast right now.
Yep.
E3 every year, always very exciting. If you don't know, E3 is a giant convention where all the biggest fucking publishers come out and just show off what they got. They got to flaunt who has the biggest dick on the table that year, you know?
We've even overlaid the sound of Sony slapping his large dick in this very podcast.
It actually sounded so natural. I don't know
did.
if anyone knew it was edited.
I don't think anyone ever picked it up. Everyone else just thought, like, maybe someone in the room had, like...
actually let their elephant dick out and unfurled.
Unfurled and hit.
So E3, yeah, dude, like one of the most exciting times of the year. It's kind of like the Super Bowl for nerds.
It really is.
For video game nerds, anyways.
Well, it's funny, actually, because has it been 3 years now where they've been kicking ass?
Yeah, like there's been a solid 3 years where it's just been really hyped.
Because
mostly due to Sony.
Yeah, because before that, E3 was turning into like, no one goes to E3 anymore, no one cares, and then Sony came up and was like, I have 2 elephant dicks.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
wanted to smack you in the head.
I was always excited for it, but I remember like I think it was the first year you and I had met. It was only concept art the first year, right? So the E3 we were in school together. I was late and I was on the way texting you, as what was happening as it was going on, because he was in class and I was walking to class.
Yeah.
And even that year wasn't great.
No.
It was like the year after, and then and the last year. And
whatever you were texting me the whole time, I'm like, I'm waiting.
Yeah, I'm waiting for like the good stuff. But nevertheless, it always builds anticipation. It's always great. And just about now, we're going to start, we're hearing the leaks, we're hearing the rumors, all stuff's going to happen. So first off, we're going to go down when everything is happening, so you are prepped. First off is going to be EA on Saturday at 12 p.m. Saturday, June 10th, sorry. At 12 p.m. That's fucking weird. Microsoft is hitting...
Isn't that like 3 a.m. for us?
I don't know what that is. I don't know what 12 p.m. PT is.
I think 12 p.m. PT is like 3 a.m. for us.
We'll check.
Yeah.
It's 3 p.m.
PM. Oh, sorry. 3 p.m. That's perfect.
So, and then Microsoft is on Sunday at 2 p.m., which will be 5 p.m.
So you can just sleep in that day.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Microsoft used to always be on Monday before Sony. Yeah. So now they're moving on to Sunday before Bethesda. Because Bethesda had kind of taken the early E3 slot and been like, hey guys, we're kicking this show off. Because for the last 2 years, this is Bethesda's 3rd year as a publisher being there. And every year they've done, revealed a lot of cool stuff. They did Prey last year. But the year before that was Fallout, Doom, Quake. I don't know if Quake didn't care about Quake. So Bethesda is Sunday, June 11th. They haven't set a time yet, but I assume it's that night. It's usually around 9 p.m. Then the PC gaming show is on Monday at 10 a.m. No one watches that. It's fine. Then Ubisoft, Monday sometime, to be announced. And then the piece de resistance, Sony. Monday, June 12th at 6 p.m. That's 9 p.m. here.
Yeah.
That is the mother of all hype trains, or it has been the last 3 years. You never know.
It's where all the stuff drops. Or at least last few years. Hopefully they do it again.
Oh, sorry. And then Nintendo's the very next day. Tuesday, 12 p.m. They're probably going to do a fucking Nintendo Direct. I forget what their plans are.
Ubisoft usually partners with someone, right?
No, Ubisoft always has their own conference.
There's no date or time on it, though.
Yeah.
It just happens at
it's
some
Monday.
point.
They don't have a date yet, or they don't have a set date. Ubisoft always has very often like very cringeworthy conferences. Like if you look up an E3 cringe compilation, like a lot of it is from Ubisoft.
A lot of bugs.
Nintendo, are they doing a thing? It's first chance play. Still not a big booth of years past, but it'll focus on. Okay, so they're actually going to be there. Cool. All right, so let's kick things off with our predictions for EA. EA.
Well, I mean, the clear first thing, well, not the first thing they're going to show, but the first thing that's going to come up as like the big thing is the Destiny 2.
Well, not Destiny 2.
The BioWare's Destiny like game, blah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That's going to be a big thing. They've been talking about it for a while.
Keep hearing murmurs in the background.
Yeah.
It hasn't been officially announced yet.
In any fashion. But the thing is they're being really public about the announcement. So, like, the fact that they were even like, we basically fired half of BioWare Montreal to work on the online BioWare Destiny-like game. Like, they're pretty much just being like, it's at E3!
Yeah, like we're totally getting it
this
year. It's rumored to be coming out in 2018. So yeah, we're probably going to be getting an announcement this E3. Really excited to see that actually. Like that's
because
I'm interested.
Again, like we said, like I still wish they just called this like they called this Mass Effect Online and made Mass Effect into an online Destiny-like world. Like, yes, I don't really want you to make up a new one, but the thing is they're the guys to do it. Like, when it comes down to story, it comes down to character, it comes down to making what Destiny should have been with that amazing writer they had for the original Destiny story. These guys probably didn't fire their writer, so, I'm excited to see them take this task on and actually find out what they have. And I'm thinking it's going to be great.
That's the thing. If you hear me and Mike being negative about any of these things, we want everything to be great. We love loving things. So.
But we learned that loving things also leads to heavy heartbreak when they fuck up real good. It gets you hurt. So if we just predict that they kind of suck all the time, you're always surprised by the good.
That is true. That is not a great way to live life, but it's how I do mine. Okay, so also Star Wars by Visceral is probably going to be there, or hopefully going to be there, for a lot of people. Amy Hennig, the person in charge of Uncharted 1, 2, and I believe 3, she headed those games, and then she got sniped, she got picked up by Visceral, and making a new Star Wars game. We saw like a very brief glimpse last E3 of it. I don't know if you remember that. It was just some fucking desert planet and a man coming out of a hut. Yeah. And there was like a flying car or something, probably. I don't know. But she has an knack for storytelling, making characters and stuff, so I have every bit of faith that she can make Star Wars games that people are going to love. And it's cool that we're going to get like a more like story-based Star Wars game, and we're also getting Star Wars Battlefront 2, which has a fucking campaign this time around, because a lot of people loved that game, and it was just multiplayer. It was just run around and be Luke Skywalker.
That's the thing about the Star Wars games that everyone's been kind of griping about, and I myself the same thing. Like, the only Star Wars game that had a really solid story to it outside of KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, was The Force Unleashed 1, right? Which was like so almost beyond what actually Star Wars is, because like Starkiller, the character in it, was the most powerful Jedi or Force-sensitive character to ever exist.
Wasn't he like hidden in the background between all the like the canon stuff or something? Yeah.
Like, and I always loved the joke where like Luke Skywalker, Force prodigy, born of the Force, right, and all this shit, has to grimace to move a lightsaber. Yet Starkiller is basically just whiffing while he drags a fucking Star Destroyer out of the sky from space. Like, you literally have a scene where you drag the whole ship down.
That's sick.
Into the planet side.
Those games always look fun.
I'm
not much of a Star Wars person, but yeah, they look
the first
cool.
one's one of the best action games I've ever played. It really is. It was a ton of fun. Even the QuickTime sequences in it weren't annoying. They were fun because you only activated them by being at certain attack spots on them and stuff. It's a great game. But that's the thing. Like, we've always been looking for more of that, and instead all we keep getting is like Battlefronts are great and they're good games and everything, but we don't get anything that's just like, here's a Star Wars story. Go play a Star Wars character, jump around, use your lightsaber, shoot a blaster, whatever. Yep. So I'm excited for that very much.
Also, EA, they make their money from FIFAs, NHLs, Maddens. They're gonna fucking be there.
Need for Speed.
But yeah, me and Mike don't really care. Although, I have enjoyed a Need for Speed or two. But I'm not, planning on this one being great or anything.
Yeah. And I gotta say, actually, so Mass Effect has been releasing patches for Andromeda over and over again. But I'm interested in seeing if maybe what they'll do, since they've downsized Andromeda, is try and continue that franchise's excitement by releasing large DLC packs. And I think they might have planned those out. So I'd be excited, because remember, there were a couple of really amazing expansions to Mass Effect 2 and 3. Yep. I would love for them to release a big fucking...
But because they just kind of killed off the studio, do you think...
Because the expansion stuff's the other studio. Montreal was working on the core game. Expansions would be with another studio. That's how it works.
Who?
No, sorry, another office location.
Like Edmonton?
Yeah.
You don't think they're all on Destiny-like game now, though?
No.
Yeah?
Well, I mean, probably...
I don't think we're going to see Andromeda DLC.
Maybe,
I really don't.
Maybe not at E3. I can go with that because it's a little bit soon.
It's also quite soon.
It's quite soon. So I can totally see it not being there. However, like, BioWare is big enough. They've got 4 studios. BioWare Edmonton, and I think I'm okay to say this, was working on Mass Effect Andromeda content. That's all I'm going to say. I could totally see the team over there being able to release something like that. What I'm hoping they do instead is, how about don't release anything at E3, and as basically their apology to us, is do kind of like a Witcher thing where they release a 20-hour
like a big one,
expansion, like a 20-hour expansion.
That could be a way to get back on people's good graces.
Yeah. That would be amazing.
That'd
I
be
hope
really
you guys do
that. Okay, so let me. Here's one way they can make me and Mike very happy. Remaster Mass Effects 1 to 3 in one collection, $60.
Yeah.
Just all 3 of them.
Yeah.
There you go.
I would be down to play them tonight. I would go home immediately.
I remember I asked you this question, I think, like, maybe last year, and you're like, no, I have no interest in playing those games right now again. But I feel like your Mass Effect fever is heightened so much that you're like, I could do that again now.
No, I said I would. I've been trying to replay Mass Effect 2 and 3 for 3 years now. Because, or how long's the PS4 been out? 2 years?
Yeah. Yeah, 3?
Almost 3?
2014, I think.
So, yeah, when my PS3 died, and I ended up just going straight, because luckily it died on the day the PS4 came out.
Very lucky.
Very lucky. I got the PS4, and I couldn't play Mass Effect 2 or 3 again, and I kept looking on their store, because there used to be a different store compared to the PS Now they have right now, where they were like releasing PS1 and 2 and 3 games. They didn't release anything on the PlayStation Network, and now the PS Now system is actually a lot of fun. I like it a lot, and I've played lots of games off of it. There's still no Mass Effect, and I've been waiting. I'm just I refresh every week in a hope that it's going to pop up.
I believe there was a survey they finally did, because for a while they were saying, like, we're not going to do it, but then there was a survey in the last couple months, I want to say, where they said, like, would you like to see a Mass Effect series remaster? And everyone was like, yeah. So that could be happening. I could see it. I could see it.
I could totally see it. I could totally see it for sure. So, hopefully that's the case, because good God, I would love to replay those. Also, please release a big chunk for me. Oh, another thing I would like to see, because BioWare is included in the whole EA thing, is I would like to see something else from Dragon Age. Not an expansion. Give me even a teaser for 2-3 years away from now, Dragon Age Fire from Hell or whatever.
Fire from Hells. You heard it here first. The leaked title of the next Dragon Age. Okay, well, if we're talking about unlikely things to happen, I want to see a Dead Space reboot.
Yeah,
that's a
pipe dream.
Like 20% chance. Like very small. I can't imagine it actually happening.
No, I think that franchise.
There's been no indication.
I think it got really chopped. Like whoever is in charge. Like, I think the game, woke up, gained sentience for a night, kicked him in the balls, and then, peed on his house, and then, died again, and then ever since he hasn't been able to get his revenge.
Yeah, also the original team's all split up now. Some of them are working on Call of Duty, some of them at another studio. I know they're all split up now, so I really doubt it unless it's a brand new team, brand new reboot. Very unlikely. But that's, EA's property that first comes to mind where I'm like, I would want that.
Yeah.
You know what else? Skate 4. Give me Skate 4.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Give me Skate 4, motherfucker.
Stop with the Skate 4.
No, give me Skate 4. Alright, that's really all for EA that I can think of. Microsoft.
Did we just skip them?
What? Fuck, man. Microsoft is just hurting. They canceled the one game that I was really looking forward to, Scalebound. And their lineup, their potential lineup, Halo 6 isn't showing up. They've confirmed it's a no-show. Yeah. Apparently, they teased another some sort of Halo announcement.
Yeah, which might just be an expansion thing or a movie or something.
Forza Motorsport 7. I know they're fans of that. I'm not personally a fan. It's a fucking racing game, whatever.
They'll probably have a shit ton of Project Scorpio stuff.
So here's the thing. They're coming out with a new console this year. How much stuff do you think is going to be there where it's going to be stuff we already know about, where they're going to be like, look how much better this looks? Are they just going to just start showing the power of it, where they're like,
oh no,
look at how many HDs we have. Look at how many fucking gigaflops.
No, that's all.
And Tera RAMs.
Yeah. They're not going to do any sort of tech for it because they'll have their own show for the release of the Project Scorpio. They're not going to do it at E3. So they're going to talk about it. So
you don't think so? You don't think they're going to be like, we're going to show up, or maybe they start off the conference and they're like, everything you see here today is running on Project Scorpio.
Yeah.
The name of Project Scorpio is the Xbox 720. I don't know if I can call it now. And it's here everything is it's going to look great, but it's going to be stuff we already know.
I think we'll get some sort of snippet. Maybe they'll actually show us the box.
Yes, I think they will.
Yeah. But, we're not going to get, they're not going to be, us playing on it, and, here's all of the system stuff, and these are the games that are coming out on it, and this kind of shit. They're not going to talk about it. They're just going to be look at it.
I don't know. They showed it at the end of last year's, so I feel like they might do it this year. But, what else they have that we know of is Sea of Thieves, which is Rare's pirate game where it's massively multiplayer online, like pirate thing. Not interested at all.
No.
Crackdown 3, which again I'm not interested at all. I enjoyed Crackdown 1. Crackdown 2 wasn't as good, but who still cares about Crackdown? That's the thing.
I forgot about it until you just said it.
That's the thing. No one cares about Crackdown. No. State of Decay, which I know some people care about. It's that online zombie game, kind of like Daisy or some shit.
Again.
But that's a game you play on Steam to me.
What I expect to see from they have like what we have up here is VR for Project Scorpio, sure, but I actually expect and hope to see a lot more from Microsoft's HoloLens. So they've been really pushing their augmented reality stuff inside of the professional design world and development world. So basically, I'm talking about people who are doing the work in the offices.
Their HoloLens Minecraft shit looked really cool.
It did look really cool. They just released today this is jargon you don't even know, but basically it's a package on how to design for augmented reality. And it's all for the Microsoft HoloLens and that kind of stuff. So I'm really hopeful to actually see more of this because to the professional side of the world, the HoloLens is the most promising device out there. All the VR headsets out there are all bullshit to us because they're just not ready. But augmented reality is where the industry is focusing in on. And it is what I think and a lot of my peers think is going to be the next step for the actual the mass consumption of VR headsets in the virtual reality world is augmented reality. For those who don't know, VR is like these full sense of submersion.
Sense of immersion? Sense of submersion?
No, like where you you lose yourself.
You're fully immersed.
Fully immersed system where the headset's on and it's like that's it. You don't see anything but the game. Augmented reality is like you put on a pair of glasses or contact lenses in the far future, and you can like see screens in front of you. And you can manipulate them with your hands and all sorts of other stuff. So it's augmenting the reality around you, which that's what they did with Minecraft in that demo. That's augmented reality. It was like it was in front of you and you can move around.
Yeah.
I see the potential behind that, and I want to see more. Like that, I want to see a ton more of.
So my dark horse that will probably not happen is Marvel's been everywhere, right? So they're doing an exclusive with Sony. They're doing Spider-Man on Insomniac. They said they have a lot more stuff in the pipeline. There's that rumored Guardians of the Galaxy game that Square Enix is working on. That'll probably be multi-platform. Do you think maybe someone at Microsoft's like, hey, give us an exclusive too. Here's some fucking money, we're Microsoft. Here's all the money.
I don't think.
Make a whatever.
Microsoft's working very lean right now, so they're working really well and they're doing an incredible job. And I used to hate Microsoft with a fiery passion. So this is weird for me to be so singing their praises. They've come to like really refine themselves, almost like an Apple motif. So like with the Surface and the HoloLens, and there's another thing they've just released, but. Very well designed, very well constructed stuff. They've cut and sliced their company down to be very focused on very particular things, and I think that's why they cut Scalebound in other games. Is they're just like, okay, no more fat. Let's just focus on getting something out and get back our share. So I don't think they're going to come out with anything else. Like I don't think they're going to go after a title like a Marvel title. I don't think they're going to try and produce that stuff.
If it keeps up with like exclusive like this though, like there's no reason to buy it. Fucking Xbox, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the thing.
But that's the thing.
Or buy a new system.
It might not be the worst move. Is kind of just release another version of it, let it fade, so that you don't have to invest in anymore. Make the HoloLens into your gaming system. You now corner the market in headsets across the entire globe.
Maybe
might be the smarter move.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem like they're even
because like trying to take out Sony now with the PlayStation is a giant task and a huge investment in money, advertising, and people. So maybe give up competing in the console market with a console that does exactly what the PlayStation does and the PlayStation does exactly what the Xbox does. Instead, do what like Nintendo's just done with the Switch and be like, I'm tackling a kind of a weird new console market of my mobile/home console market.
AR, fucking VR shit, yeah.
So like we're going to actually be the guys who take over the mantle of the AR, VR world, and the HoloLens is the most promising technology in that front. So you never know. Like, it could be that, and they're just, like, kind of trying to tackle both markets right now and doing a lean release on everything. But
could be.
Hopefully.
Next up would be Bethesda Sunday night.
This should be exciting.
So, here's the thing. This list we're looking at right now, not so hot.
No.
Let's go over real quickly. Dishonored 2 DLC.
Woohoo.
Cannot see that happening. At this point, Dishonored 2 was, like, late last year. It's already May. Maybe, but, like... Maybe. I don't think that game did well enough for them to want to continue with DLC. Maybe there was already plans for it and they're working on it, but it seems unlikely to me.
No, it didn't rock the world like they thought it would.
Prey DLC.
Too soon.
Prey just came out. Like
Yeah.
it seemed way too soon.
Way too soon.
Even way too soon. But like, and I'm gonna be a total hypocrite because later on I'm gonna suggest DLC for another game that came out recently. But so yeah, I can't imagine. Elder Scrolls Online, Morrowind. I mean, Elder Scrolls that would be an expansion. So they're adding Morrowind to probably. Who knows?
Who knows?
That game seems pretty successful for a new MMO. Fallout VR. That's almost certainly going to be there. They've been talking about it and showing it off.
Yeah.
So maybe, here's the maybes. Evil Within 2. Tango Studios, people who worked on Evil Within 1, dead silent since release. Just not a fucking word. So, maybe. maybe. Or maybe a new IP. There's just no indication either way. You know, that's the thing.
There's something about some droplets of Wolfenstein.
So, last year, they did this whole, like, when they introduced the conference, they had this, like, old school, like, DOS screen come up with, like, text, and it said, like, launch Quake, and then that was the intro to their Quake trailer. When in the little, like, folder thing, it said, like, Wolfenstein, the new Colossus, and it was like, oh shit, there's a new fucking Wolfenstein game. And Wolfenstein, the reboot of it, the last one they did, was fucking awesome. Fucking great. Really enjoyed it. I would say one of my favorite first-person shooters, except Doom came out. Yeah. Doom was even better, so... which is one of the other maybes on here, Doom DLC / expansion. I feel like they're done with that game. They came out early last year. Like this time last year.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
It kind of feels like it's run its course.
Yeah, I think they've already done everything for it. I feel like they said that, but I could be wrong. But and Elder Scrolls Skyrim for Nintendo Switch,
which I think is almost guaranteed.
Yeah, they showed it in the Nintendo commercial.
Yeah.
I believe at some point they said like, "Well, we haven't actually confirmed Skyrim on the Switch." It's like, but bitch, you let them use it in their commercial. Like it's clearly something you're talking about. So Bethesda has said, like, gone on record saying they're working on like 5 games different now. Not if there's one studio, but like across all their studios and stuff. So. Do you think this is the year where we see like do you think we see a tease of like the next Elder Scrolls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could.
We see like Skyrim 2 or whatever. I keep thinking in my head, it's probably not true, but Skyrim made such an impact. Like I know, what was the one before that? Oblivion. Oblivion made a big impact. Skyrim made such an impact. People are still playing it on Steam and on consoles, and people modding the fucking hell out of it. Still talking about Skyrim to this day. Do you think they just name it Skyrim 2 instead of doing another Elder Scrolls?
No, they'll come up with
blah, blah.
They'll come up with a blah blah blah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I always think, I'm just like, fuck, the Skyrim name just has so much power behind it now. I always just wonder if like
I mean, like I kind of wonder what their next thing is, because they were talking about releasing all of these games, and Prey was one of them. And then like I don't know what else is coming next. Because Fallout, they're not doing Fallout 5 this year.
No, there's no way.
No.
And so far they've been going in a pattern. They did Oblivion, then Fallout 3, then Skyrim, and then now Fallout 4. So yeah.
I think that they're probably. I think there's actually there's a chance for Bethesda to release a new IP at E3.
I think so, because this list looks a little bit underwhelming right now,
and a little weird for Bethesda.
Yeah. So I mean, because I remember the first year they did it, they had so much shit to announce, including Fallout. It was kind of like, oh, are they going to do this again, or is this their one year where they had enough stuff where it's like presented it? And then they did it again last year, and it was like, oh, you guys are a real publisher, and you're going to be here every year, and now they're here again, and this all looks so nothing bad, but like it's just like this is not worthy of a press conference. But
yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. There's this toss-up world of like maybe it'll be a new Elder Scrolls, or which is probably more likely, or a new IP.
Okay, next up probably is Ubisoft, probably before Sony. So if you listen to the main part of the podcast, Far Cry 5 is being rumored heavily right now. It's supposed to be taking place in modern-day Montana, and you're a cop and some shit, maybe the Wild West. Who fucking knows?
It doesn't see how that plays into the Far Cry world. That's the part that gets me, where it's like, Far Cry was always like, you were a survival person, and you had to survive and make a fire and then collect your shit.
You can be in the mountains of Montana and stuff. It's very, like, mountainous, and they're fucking...
It's a weird setting for
it, ranch, but... There's horses. There's a King of the Hill episode there. So they're making the King of the Hill game, which I would be fucking stoked for. I mean, they have South Park Fractured But Whole. Like, they can make a King of the Hill game. Oh, fuck. A King of the Hill RPG would be so good.
No, it
I would
make
be
me
like the
so
only one
mad.
who wants it, but I want it.
I know, it would make me so mad.
Oh, fuck. I love that show.
I feel like, why did you waste your time?
King of the Hill's brilliant. So Far Cry 5, and I love Far Cry. I didn't play 1 or 2, but I love 3 and 4, love them. Absolutely adored them. Really, really enjoy them. Fucking, I feel like Trump right now. Really enjoyed them. Just the best games. Could not get better.
Fake news.
So yeah, looking forward to Far Cry 5 no matter what it is. They did say they want to take time off and like kind of like re-establish what Far Cry is and stuff. So hoping to see this one be a little different than the last one.
I'd be curious to find out if this is just turned into like a new Far Cry series, or they're going to be like Far Cry Unraveled or something, and they just get rid of the number count and change the series because they're going to a modern setting, which is so different from the other Far Cries, right?
I mean, 3 and 4 were modern, but like you were in the jungle.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like you wouldn't have access to a city in the other ones, right?
No. So it was like little settlements or towns, or like maybe towns. It was like fucking bases that like soldiers lived in.
Yeah, exactly. So like, if you're gonna have a place where you can actually go into town or some shit like that, you're actually playing a cop who is like, like from a town. And, like maybe they're changing the whole franchise to give it a new identity in the way they did with Prey. And it's gonna be like Far Cry something, instead. And that's the new, which could be a potential thing. So Far Cry 5 could just be working.
I always really like the way the gunplay feels in Far Cry. I feel like they really nail it. So that even that is a lot of fun. It's kind of like the Destiny thing, where like even if the game is like a little repetitive, which it is, the gunplay was always a lot of fun, and just the amount of ways that you could go into a fucking outpost and kill guys. Yeah. Also, in 3, you get a flamethrower, and you set a weed field on fire, and dubstep starts playing. So, that's just good fucking writing. Alright, so South Park, The Fractured But Whole, probably also be there. It actually got delayed. It was supposed to have come out already this year. Yeah. And then it got delayed and pushed back, so I'm wondering if there was some technical stuff, or if they just looked at the calendar and were like, fucking nope. Nope.
Because like that whole section of the last, from like November till now has just been like, wow, let's not do anything.
Yeah, they're like, this is a bad idea.
Because there's no way South Park competes with anything here.
Yeah. And I actually have South Park Fractured But Whole pre-ordered on my Xbox because I got the first one free if I did, so.
Stick of truth,
Yeah, so looking forward to that one comes out.
Yep.
Assassin's Creed Origins, there was a leaked screenshot that we didn't talk about in the main podcast, but you can find it if you Google it. Yeah, it's going to take place in Egypt, it looks like, and the naval combat is back, so definitely expect to see that there.
And it's been pretty much a leaked guarantee to show.
For sure. Yeah. And this is also, same thing with Far Cry, this is like, Assassin's Creed took a year off, they're trying to like redo something different with this one, so I've never been an Assassin's Creed fan personally, but I know Mike used to be heavy into it, right?
Yeah, I was 1, 2, Brotherhood, 3. 3, I didn't even finish, I was just like, whoa, too much shit. Although I always love a game where they're like, go save this town. If you don't, it's not saved. If you do, it builds up a new town. Build stuff for a town. The town actually builds something.
Yeah.
Like the worlds that change around me make me feel great. So I like that about 3. But yeah, other than that, after that, I just dropped off. I was like, bleh.
Yeah. So I mean, if this is like a new formula in this game, could it potentially get you back on board?
They'd have to excite me with something.
Could you stand up and like start shouting at the screen?
No. But if they showed me something that was exciting and interesting, that was different, then yes.
Yeah. Okay. Splinter Cell. They haven't touched it in a while, and I always love a good stealth game. And the Splinter Cells are sometimes good stealth games.
And they're also the ones where the most goofiest shit ever happens in your life. So I have
Mike has like the most fond memory of like Splinter Cell.
I have the dumbest shit that's ever happened in my life in a video game. My best funny, stupid gaming stories come from Splinter Cell. So, and the multiplayer was too funny. Where you're trying to coordinate with your friend sitting next to you, be like, all right, lower me now. And then it's like literally out of every gag joke on the floor. And like 6 guys are like, huh? Fuck! Pull me out! So yeah, like it's great fun, and I hope that they do something really cool with it.
I really like just like a well-crafted stealth game, and there's none of those on the map right now that I can think of. So yeah, I'm hoping to see a Splinter Cell return. That could actually make me pretty excited. Yes,
currently right now the stealthiest thing I've done is in fucking Persona, and you can stand in front of them and they don't see you. So.
Yeah, that's not stealth. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows why they even implemented that system.
I like it, though.
All right. And then maybe Beyond Good and Evil 2. If you've been following our Instagram at all, actually, we probably talked about the podcast, too. There was some art released by the what's that guy's name? Michel Ancel. Released some concept art after fucking 5 years of absence for Beyond Good and Evil, so I can see it finally happening at the C3. I know every year it's one of those mythical games like The Last Guardian. The Last Guardian eventually came out, so maybe this will too.
Well, they keep talking about this one. It's one of those ones, like, I mean, it's not the level of Devil May Cry 5 or Escape 4, but...
Yeah, they will mention it occasionally. They'll be like, oh yeah, that's still coming. And you're like, really? Are you sure? So Ubisoft also has shit like, they got fucking Watch Dogs. I can't see us getting a Watch Dogs 3 so soon after 2. That came out late last year.
Yeah, we're not going to get a Watch Dogs 3. Some people talked about Watch Dogs DLC. Nah. But I didn't see the excitement for them to even... Like, if they were working on it by the time the game released, they were like, hey, guys, Go home.
It's a shame, too, because I heard Watch Dogs 2 was, like, leagues above the first one, so... I still plan on picking it up one day when I see it on sale for, like, $20.
Yeah.
What else do they have? They have the Division, which I don't know whether they touch that now. Like, I don't know what's going on with that.
I think the servers are going to shut down soon.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The biggest things I'd be excited for this is definitely Far Cry 5 for me and Splinter Cell.
Yep.
No, those are the two things. Everything else is just kind of fluff.
As my hopeful, as my ridiculous stupid list, I want them to fucking release... I just lost it. Oh, Prince of Persia.
Prince of Persia. Yeah, good one. Yeah.
I want Prince of Persia back so fucking bad. I mean, I miss that game. It's funny. Like, there was this huge crave for parkour in gaming, right? For a while, where Prince of Persia did it, and then suddenly everybody could wall run, everybody could jump, and everybody could turn back time, right? Prince of Persia dictated gaming mechanics for a long time. Now, I think the slowing time down thing needed to end, because we all think of it now as like a stupid cliche ability that everyone gets in every game. You know, like, you're a mobster, but you can slow down time. It's called adrenaline. I'm like, fuck you. But I want Prince of Persia back. I want to, like, run across a collapsing ruin while it falls behind me and I'm doing ridiculous aerial stunts. I want that combat system where I was flowing around and flipping over shit. It was a beautifully wonderful game. Everyone remembers them. They're still some of the best games ever made. Please bring back that franchise. You're the only ones who own it.
Yeah, it seems like it's due, right? Like, the last one, that cell-shaded reboot, was from, like, 2008 now, if I think.
And it was an awful game in its entirety, but it had the things in it that were really great. I actually really enjoyed that weird dual-person combat. It was actually a lot of fun. You know, the thing that was bad about it was that the combat was like these, like, almost instance. It wasn't instance, but like you were stuck in an arena area and you just kind of moved around.
I feel like
I didn't get the run around characters and run up walls and shit. Like,
the thing was, I kind of enjoyed that game. I never beat it, but like I did kind of enjoy it. I feel like if they had evolved that format, it could have been something really cool and special. But
so do it now.
Yeah, do it now. Let's hit Nintendo. I know that's the day after, but I want to do Sony last because that's really the real big motherfucker. I feel like Nintendo, surprisingly, is not going to have the worst E3 in a long time.
Well, so Mario Odyssey?
Yeah, so Microsoft's going to have the worst one, let's be clear.
Yes.
For sure.
By the way.
But Nintendo, I mean, brand new system out. This is their time. Their launch conference wasn't, like, super great, but they did have some potential there. You know, there's some good moments. So we're going to see more Super Mario Odyssey. For sure. They've already confirmed that. Yeah. Because that is, hypothetically, still coming out at the end of this year. We're going to see more ARMS, and I think ARMS looks fun.
It looks cute.
Splatoon 2, which I'm kind of a fan of Splatoon 1. Like, I actually had a lot of fun playing
it's a good game.
So, yeah, it's weirdly fun. It's one of those ones where you look at it and you're like, this is fucking
It's the usual Nintendo thing. Like, it's funny because they don't make a lot of new IPs. They made this new IP into the Nintendo games. You're like, who the fuck plays Mario Party? Yeah. And you turn it on and you're like, what?
Yeah, this is so much fun. Yeah.
Mario Kart. Like, why would I put Mario in a car? And eight fucking Mario Karts later. You know, like, it doesn't make any sense when Nintendo does it, but then, like, some of them do, and Splatoon's a great example of that. Yeah,
so those are all look like solid games. I'm especially curious about Super Mario Odyssey. I want to see way more on that.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's this Mario Rabbids crossover that's happening. It's supposed to be with Ubisoft. I don't really give a fuck.
No.
Super Smash Brothers is also on the table, obviously. It's one of their biggest selling IP. I can't see a new one, but I could see them this year releasing a remaster.
I see Nintendo's entire thing being a blast of remasters because they don't have anything slated for the new
Also,
games.
Nothing sold that well on the Wii U, and the Switch is like probably already selling it, so they're going, buy it on here now.
Yeah.
We already have the game.
That's the thing, because they don't have any games slated until like December or some shit.
Splatoon is this summer. Splatoon 2 is this summer.
They have a huge gap, nevertheless. So I think they're going to fill it all in. This Mario Rabbids crossover thing is apparently supposed to be one of their fillers. But I think all the Nintendo stuff is going to be like, oh, look, Skyrim on the Switch. Super Smash Brothers remastered on the Switch. We've got Mario Kart 8 on the Switch.
I would love for them to see a fucking Metroid reveal. Retro Studios has got to be working on something. I want to see a badass fucking Metroid pop out of here, or even if a beautifully rendered like 2D like Metroid came out on the Switch would be fucking sick.
Yeah, I'm
fucking
down.
Sick. That's it for Nintendo. Let's get to the big boy.
Let's get to the big boy.
Sony,
which is just starting at the top of the list with just basically.
Sorry, 1 second. Let's go over the last 3 years.
Okay.
I know it sounds like a lot, but 2014.
Little Big Planet.
Their conference was Little Big Planet 3. Bloodborne, Abzu, Let It Die, Grim Fandango, GTA 5 re-release. Who cares? Uncharted 4 release date and Infamous First Light. That sounds like shit in comparison with what we got before.
It was so shitty. Because Infamous First Light was the only thing from that year that I was interested in, and it turned out to be a shitty game.
Oh.
Yeah.
It seems so bad in comparison now.
Yeah.
Okay, so then 2015. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh.
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh.
Last Guardian re-reveal.
I'm already done.
Shenmue 3.
Yeah.
World of Final Fantasy. Hitman. Dreams. Destiny the Taken King.
Mm-hmm.
Firewatch's console debut. And Riggs. I don't know the fuck
I don't know what Riggs is.
And then 2016. God of War. Days Gone.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Death Stranding.
That was a big...
Farpoint.
Don't remember.
I don't know what that is. Spider-Man.
Yes.
Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy.
Yep.
And the PSVR price/release date.
Yeah.
So this year, what do we got on our plate? Well, at PSX they revealed The Last of Us 2. So
we're totally getting more content of this happening at the Sony.
You think so? Yeah.
I doubt it at all. Yeah, for sure.
Trailer, no gameplay, right?
Oh, trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No gameplay though, right?
No.
I'm not thinking any gameplay. Maybe a trailer.
I mean, maybe gameplay.
Do you think it's one of those things though? Remember they didn't show Final Fantasy VII Remake at last year's E3? They showed it at PSX again. Do you think it's like we wait a whole year and we get more Last of Us 2 at PSX instead of
No,
E3?
because Naughty Dog's not going to do that shit. You know.
But if you look further down this list, we got Uncharted Lost Legacy, which is coming out this year. They might want to promote that before something that's not. You know what I mean?
Last of Us 2.
Okay, I'm gonna say no Last of Us at this conference.
We're going to see something. I don't know what it is.
I hope so. I
it
hope
could
we
be
do.
shitty little blip of a nothing.
Oh no, you know what? I'm already contradicting myself because PSX started with that Uncharted Lost Legacy and it ended with Last of Us 2. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
Imagine they do the same thing.
Well, they totally could. So, like, I do see both of those things being there, which is more.
Yeah. Okay, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, Spidey-Man.
I expect to see full gameplay,
Yes.
run through, and release date.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, gotta be.
Like ready, like that's there for sure.
God of War. Definitely. We definitely see more.
I think we definitely see more. You're right. I think I was resisting that we wouldn't see more, but I think we will definitely see more. I think they will give us a year release date, like just 2018. You know?
Yes, I think so too.
But that's it. It's going to be a very like blue balls situation of just like here's some more and here's a fucking year it's going to come out.
Then PSX we see March 2018.
Yeah.
Or whatever that is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Destiny 2?
Yeah,
That's almost certainly...
Scarily 100%.
We'll see
They've already got
there.
pre-orders out for the game.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
We're good to get that.
Probably debut gameplay there.
Yeah. That'd be amazing, actually, because I really would want to see if they've made changes or they're just literally making an expansion.
Yeah, well, yeah. Let's see. Destiny 2, knock our socks off. We're both fans of the first one. Call of Duty World War 2.
People are excited about this?
They'll definitely be there. Kingdom Hearts 3.
I don't think this is going to be there at all. So they've been talking about not releasing information on this a lot. A lot of different places have been like, no, you're not going to see anything. No, you're not going to see anything. No, you're not going to see anything. So for the Square Enix release information that I'm seeing, it's between two things, Final Fantasy Remake or Kingdom Hearts 3 information. They have been making a lot of, because I've been following.
I feel like we're further in, somehow we're further in development with Final Fantasy VII Remake than we are Kingdom Hearts 3.
I know.
For some reason I feel like that.
That's the same thing. Now, they did just release the Kingdom Hearts 2.8 final remix thing with a little 2-hour demo, which was the actual Kingdom Hearts 3 engine running the whole thing, and some little preview of what's coming up in the next game, which actually got me very excited. When I watched it, I was like, oh, ooh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And a beautiful, fucking pretty. So, like, there is potential for Kingdom Hearts 3 to be there, but they keep talking about how they're not releasing information. It could be a misdirect, but maybe not.
Square is so hard to read.
It's so fucking hard to read.
You can't tell if they're genius or idiots sometimes. They walk that line between masters and fools.
Yeah. But I personally think that the last time we saw any solid Final Fantasy Remake content was at E3 last year, right?
No, wasn't it PSX the year before?
It's been a while. It's been almost over a year since we've had solid Final Fantasy Remake news. So I feel like that's more of an E3 release, and they'll talk about Kingdom Hearts 3 as something else.
Yeah, I think so too. Fingers crossed. I would put my bet on we see FF7 Remake over Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
Next up is Days Gone. Days Gone will most definitely be here again. They debuted last year.
They'll probably just give us some more gameplay and a full release date.
Yeah. I'm really hoping this one wows more people this year. I know it was weird last year because it ended the conference and it wasn't like the best thing to end the conference with,
also,
which I understand.
The Last of Us No, it wasn't on that thing. Sorry.
No, it wasn't. So they ended the conference with Days Gone, and it didn't strike people as hard as people they would have liked, I'm sure. Even you were like kind of underwhelmed by it.
I was like, okay, zombie game with a horde of zombies. I mean, I think I can think of 4 games right now that do the same thing.
And and like it seems like a wilderness survival. Like a lot of it's like based on his like motorcycle and stuff. Like I want to see more of that. I really like. I think this game has potential to be really cool. So I wanted to have that wow factor. I'm interested in it from what I saw, but yeah, it's not like blowing my socks off yet.
No.
But fingers crossed it goes a little better. Detroit Become Human. We gotta get a release date for this thing, right?
I thought we had some news about this recently, and I think yes. Like I think for some reason
it was like the last mocap they ever did for it or something. Remember?
Yeah, so I think this is release date time for Detroit Become Human.
Does it come out this year?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be.
So?
I think Christmas season.
I can see it.
It's again like I mean I know this is a much prettier, much bigger game, something further along than they've ever done before. But again, remember what I always say is that all they have to do is get a walk animation in, and they're done.
Yeah.
So like the devs' time isn't like them debugging whether or not someone can actually do a triple backflip and not clip through the world, right?
That's true. Yeah, it's walking around a room.
Yeah.
This one seems more in depth though with the detective shit and all that stuff.
Yeah. Like, there's tons of stuff to do. It's a big game and tons of work to do, but I still think that they have less of a larger engine to work on in the way that they have to deal with physics and shit like that to let us play this game. Unless they've pushed Detroit Become Human into something a little bit more action oriented, which would be very cool.
Yeah. So.
We're going to see more content from it no matter what.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking release date, and they're going to say November, December.
Yeah, I hope so. I just wonder if they think it'll get buried there. Next up, Death Stranding. I think this one could not be there. I mean, already there's so many things that, like, almost are for sure going to be there, you know? So, like... That's what I'm thinking, like...
Do you think they can prevent Hideo Kojima from getting on that stage again? And doing something?
No.
And he's talking about dropping these little video sequences where you're gonna like tell the story and like tell you the release date, blah blah bullshit metagame.
That's true, yeah, because he said we're already playing the game, like that kind of thing.
So you don't think he's not gonna give you another thing?
You're right, yeah.
Like, he's gonna come out and do something. It's gonna be, but you know what? It's probably
is this the reveal of Emma Stone?
That's the thing. This is probably what it's going to be is literally no gameplay, another video sequence with another actor in it, standing there crying black goo with a tentacle. Like, you know.
Yep. Yes. Okay, almost certainly.
Yeah. Like, that's what it's going to be. And he's going to be like, I'm arty, and then that's it.
Yeah, and walk on stage and we'll all clap.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you're right.
Feed the beast,
when you put it that way, when you set up with the whole, he thinks we're already playing the game thing. Yeah, okay.
Just feed the beast, Hideo. Feed the beast.
There's Gran Turismo Sport, which we don't give a fuck about. We're not going to talk about it. Knack 2! Knack 1 was the fucking platformer that came out when the PS4 launched. It was a mistake. Knack 2, maybe they'll solve that issue. I'm never going to play it.
No.
Uncharted Lost Legacy, that will definitely be there.
100%.
That's coming out this year, as far as I know. So
it's coming out soon, like a few. I thought it was coming out in like a few months.
Yeah, like I think it's coming out July. So August? Shortly after E3. This will be the last big push I think we'll see for it.
Yeah.
Shenmue 3 it was announced 2 years ago, so we're probably gonna finally get an update on it. I would have to imagine.
Maybe there just might be something that's not even on the screen, but just updated somewhere on the E3.
I think we'll get our first real gameplay trailer of it. I think.
Maybe.
And Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. I think that's going to be out by then. I could be wrong, but I think that's going to be out.
I don't think they're going to do any content for it on stage. I think they're just going to like leave it and be like, by the way, it's out. You know, like
they might do like a little in one of their montages or something. Yeah.
So maybe they put Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which I've been hearing that it's had like some issues getting out. But...
So it says rumored to be a no-show, but who knows? I wouldn't expect to see it this soon in my mind, but I don't know.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Like, I wouldn't be like, wow, you guys were fast. But at the same time, I'm not expecting it.
Okay, so here are my other predictions. Ni no Kuni 2. I don't actually think we'll see it. I think that's going to be another PSX one, because we saw it PSX 1 year.
It's Tokyo Game Show or PSX.
Then me and you bitched for a year, and it finally came back at PSX again.
Yeah. They've released...
I would like to see it, but I doubt it.
They've released more content than what we saw. They've also put out some new videos, new gameplay.
Yep, they put out some gameplay. You can find that on Polygon.
After like the PSX and the
it was like mid this year sometime. Yeah.
So they are starting to churn out and get that engine running, and I don't think they're going to run on E3 for it.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
Sucker Punch's new IP has got to be coming out,
and I got to think it's going to be here. This is my big I hope it's there because I miss Sucker Punch.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, Infamous launched the PS4, so and they're working on a new IP. It's confirmed they are. So that's gonna either start or end the show, probably.
I think it's gonna end the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like that's I'm curious to see what they're working on. They're talented guys.
Yeah.
That's gotta be this year. I think I predicted it last year too, but like it's gotta be this year.
No, it's gotta be now because like now I'm saying because beforehand I said nah, and now I'm saying yeah.
And the thing is, that would be the only new thing. That's the thing. Everything else here, which I mean, and these look like great games. Like,
no, Detroit Become Human's new, and
it's not new.
Detroit Become Human?
Yeah. I mean, we already knew about it. I mean, there's no wow factor to it. Like, we already knew it was coming.
Oh, yeah, like nothing I've never heard of before.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there's no surprise like Horizon Zero Dawn when we first saw it, but it's not like, this will be the new thing
we can't predict those. We can't just sit around and just be like, new game.
No, but like, all the studios we know of are busy doing these.
That's our E3 prediction. The podcast comes out, we go, new game.
No, but you know what I mean, right? Like, with this is the only studio we know of that we don't know what they're working on.
Yeah.
That's like the one we can guarantee that like is working on something and can come
Don't
out.
you find this kind of an interesting weird switch in the news? So remember back in the day when we used to pick up our PSN magazines, there used to be stuff in the magazines with little screenshots going unknown new IP, and they would talk about what they'd expect from the game and what the new IP would be, and used to make up and be like, oh my god, this game's going to be this kind of game. And they wouldn't even have a title. It'd be like months and months and months of just screenshots. And
like Square's Untitled game or whatever.
Square's Untitled new coming game looks awesome, right? Doesn't happen.
No, not anymore. Everything's so controlled.
Yeah. So like new IPs don't exist, so you can't sit back as a news reporter and actually go like, oh, new IP, unless they...
Also screenshot leaks, like those 3 Capcom things that leaked. Remember you got those screenshots and stuff? Like,
and even then, most of the time, it's like the company goes like, new IP releasing, and then you basically just reiterate what they say. Sony said new IP.
Yeah,
like...
that's what we get. It's a new IP. And here's where I'm going to contradict myself from earlier. Do you think we get a Horizon DLC trailer?
Maybe.
Right? Because they said they're going to do a DLC. It's been a couple months. They've done some patches.
I had expected it to be pretty epic of a DLC, though. Like an expansion kind of thing. Like CD Projekt Red, Witcher style. Not just like, hey, here's some outfits and a couple new missions.
Yeah. It's going to be like a chunk of story, I think. Yeah.
And they said so, too, is that the DLC would be a new chunk of story. Fuck, I gotta replay that now that my PlayStation crashed and I lost my data.
No.
Because I can't play a DLC of the continuation, can I?
You might be able to.
Yeah?
Yeah, you might be able to.
But then I don't have any gear.
They might do that thing where it's like, you fell in a hole and all your shit's gone. Or whatever they do, Like Last of Us DLC was like, it didn't matter.
I don't want to redo all that. Oh.
Fingers crossed Mike doesn't have to replay Horizon. That makes it sound bad, but like...
No, but it's just I don't want to have to put another fucking 80 hours into that game to get everything again.
Yeah, understandable. I think that could happen. Final Fantasy 7 already have one there. Okay, here's my fucking crazy ass. Here's how they make me cry.
Yeah.
Dino Crisis reboot.
Okay, fine.
Dino Crisis.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
Capcom and Sony are chums. Resident Evil 7 debuted there last year. Make it happen.
Okay.
Give me an action-oriented Dino Crisis. Regina's back. She's fucking baller, still got red hair. And Dylan from Dino Crisis 2, even though he died in like a time warp, I want him to walk out of a portal like with a beard, and he's just old as fuck, and he's like, the T-Rex! And it's like, bam, bam, Dino Crisis. You want to make me cry? Another Capcom game. Give me Devil May Cry 5. Let me tell you my story for Devil May Cry 5. My fan fiction. No. So I reported this a while ago, and Mike laughed me out of the fucking podcast. Well, it was such a small thing. It was just so the two mocap actors who did Dante and Virgil were working together on something in some mocap studio. Who knows? Like, they're mocap actors. They could be just working together on some other project. Who fucking knows? So now the newest tidbit of nothing is the same mocap actor is like. People are like, I guess he has a Facebook page or whatever, right? And people are they keep asking him like, hey, what's your new project you're working on? Like, what is this or what? And he just says, like, someone says like, how's it going? And he goes, smoking. And like, that's a Devil May Cry reference to this.
Oh,
when you hit a style, like it's.
He's just doing it for clicks.
Yeah, is he just fucking with people?
He's just doing it for clicks.
It's gonna come out and
he's like completely
I'm
irrelevant.
working on the 3DS game, like Legend of like Logara.
Yeah.
I was like, oh fuck. No, like, is it gonna be that or is it gonna be Devil May Cry 5?
He's doing it for clicks.
Also, the director of Devil May Cry is working, or the previous director of Devil May Cry is working on something he's not talking about. We don't know what it is. Fingers crossed, Devil May Cry 5, boys. I'm on your side. So that'd be great. This one is even less likely to happen than Devil May Cry 5. Another Capcom. Breath of Fire.
Oh, God,
it's dead. It's dead. It's never coming back. It's never gonna happen.
Don't say it. Stop saying that.
Even less than the other two. So
Bring back Breath of Fire.
Bring
But,
back Bob.
you know, like, that's the kind of shit. So this is, my last on the prediction side. This is the kind of shit that they need to do this Sony. Yeah, it pretty much is this Sony. This E3 is... Sorry, everyone else. This E3 is... We don't have those things that are going to pop up and, you know, make, like, the guy who saw the Capcom game get up and, like, put his hands in the air and scream.
Yeah.
Wah! You know, I want this to happen again this year, where I'm going to call Cal, like, when it happens, and just be like, what? And he's going to be like, what? And then we're just going to stand outside and be like, what? For, like, a day.
Yep.
But something like Breath of Fire 3 is... Or 3, fuck. Something like Breath of Fire getting dropped would make us do that. Fucking Parasite Eve.
That was the last one. The list was Parasite Eve.
Yeah.
Very unlikely also.
Very unlikely to have that happen. But... Some of those games that would just, like, no one would ever expect to have us bring back, right?
Yeah.
Like, those would be like, what? So.
Okay, so let's look at some other people's predictions.
Mm-hmm.
These all seem too reasonable. Oh, you know what? Hellblade's in here. Hellblade's as soon as sacrifice. Yeah. I could see that being there. Maybe not like a huge chunk of it, but like a little, maybe in a montage.
They're tied in at the end of someone else's presentation.
Yeah. So Dreams, I don't think that game exists anymore. That's the thing that the Little Big Planet people are working on. They haven't showed in like 2 years. I don't know what's happening with it.
The what's the name of that company? I forgot. Media Molecule is a beautiful, amazing studio, and they did great work with Little Big Planet. But I don't know what's going on with them. Everyone keeps talking about fucking Bloodborne 2.
Bloodborne 2 is the one that it seems like everybody. That's the hot thing. Everyone wants it.
Everyone wants Bloodborne 2. Right now, for Cal and I, we're going to debunk this or keep it. What is it? What do you think? Yes?
I don't know. So he did say... So even though he said he's not working on any more Souls games, right? Mm-hmm. Specifically Dark Souls. Mm-hmm. I get it. No more Dark Souls. Bloodborne isn't Dark Souls. Mm-hmm. But then after that, like I think in the same interview, the head guy said like, well, we're also working on like a Dark Souls style game. Like, so... Is it Bloodborne? Is it something else that plays like it but is different? You know, like sci-fi take on Dark Souls, Space Souls, who knows? Yeah, I mean, I could see it happening. Bloodborne 1 did very well for Sony. It was exclusive to them. I could see it happening eventually. Is it too? It's not too soon either. Like, it came out a while ago.
It could totally happen. I don't want it to, but it could. I would rather that studio try something new.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna err towards no. I'm gonna err towards not happening this year.
I'm going to err towards not happening this year, as towards the erring towards not happening this year probably is going to happen.
Okay. Kingdom Hearts 3, people want.
Yeah.
Detroit Become Human, Dragon Quest Builders 2.
It's all pretty much the standard stuff. Yeah. Seems like everyone's kind of got the same run-up.
Final Fantasy Remake and Kingdom Hearts 3 with release windows. That's real.
That's hopeful.
That's real hopeful, yeah.
You're a hardcore JRPG
Final Fantasy
fan.
VII Remake opens the show and Kingdom Hearts 3 gets a gameplay demo and release date. There's no way.
Kingdom Hearts 3 could have a gameplay demo. That's no question. They've already done shit tons of it. So.
Sure, I still know. Second party exclusives, Spider-Man, Death Stranding. Yeah. Both these games get full gameplay demos. No. We're not getting full... Like, they'll never do... Like, Spider-Man, yes. We'll see gameplay. Death Stranding, no. There's no way.
Usually at every E3, no matter how much content gets released, you probably get, like, 2 gameplay demos out of all 12 games announced.
Yeah.
You know? So don't expect gameplay demos from all of them and mostly get, like, a banner and a, hey, guess what?
One last reveal, FromSoft's next game, which would be Bloodborne 2 probably, or a new whatever they're doing, because they already said they're working on multiple games. One last thing, Last of Us Part 2. No, God of War demo. Nah, I mean, I can't. The one last thing usually is something new. That's the thing. It's the really wow factor,
and it's the really shocking one.
Yeah.
So it's usually a new IP and or. Yeah, like it wouldn't be Last of Us or God of War or any of those things. It's never one of those things like we're expecting this.
Those are openers.
Yeah.
The things you already know but look really good.
Yeah, so the ending is always something like I didn't even see that coming from a
Although, I mean, God of War was an opener. It was new, but it's not new. Like it's still God of War. Yeah, hard to say, yeah. They start the conference off with recognizable IP / the reveal of that IP. Okay, well you just said 2 different things. You can't have that.
No.
They start off with something old or maybe something new.
Yeah.
It's all the same shit.
Everyone seems to be on the same page this year, which is kind of interesting because with this year,
it's like we're all wondering what else can they do.
Yeah, like we're out of ideas.
They need to make good on the promises of the last couple of years, which they did with Horizon, obviously.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We're like sitting around going like, hey, you know what? Like, what is the new thing? And since very little information about any new IP exists out there, except for, again, like, everyone going, like, we have new IPs.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Like,
really, all the information we have is Sucker Punch.
I mean, it could
so
be
unless some of the third-party studios start coming in, like Capcom or some Konami.
It could even be from all the other studios. They don't talk about any of the IPs that they currently have out there. And they just come up with a whole bunch of new IPs this year, and that's how Sony knocks everyone's socks off. But
do you think something crazy could happen, like Konami's out of the business now, right? Like, they don't want to do video games anymore. They're working on fucking pachinko machines. And they're doing that fucking weird Metal Gear game that's a multiplayer shooter or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. Do you think, like, let's just say Sony, like, partners with them somehow and is like, Konami is giving us the rights to do a game like Castlevania, and we're making a brand new, like, you know, just for instance, right? Like, a brand new Castlevania game. It's under our studios. Konami has, like, nothing to do with it. So it's like...
They could be selling off their IPs.
You know, something like that.
It could be cool, something like that.
Or maybe not even selling them off, but just, like, Konami's like, okay, we don't want to do it, so we'll just give this to Sony for now. And they, like, we'll still get some residuals, but we don't have to do fuck all, you know? Because they're not doing anything with Castlevania, aside from that Netflix animated series.
Yeah.
You know, maybe something like that?
It could be possible, and it doesn't even have to just apply to Konami. There's lots of other studios that are in kind of a similar situation where they could be passing off their IPs to partner with larger companies to get them back up there, right? Like even Sega.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think Sonic in particular, because they've got that other Sonic game coming.
Yeah.
But Sega has a lot of other IPs that were great, and you know,
Choo Choo Rocket.
I mean, Contra was a Sega franchise, which is partnered with someone else.
Contra got teased like 3 years ago as a reboot, and then nothing ever happened. They had this like little trailer, and then it never came back out. Yeah, it was weird.
So that could be the world of it, but it's just that those are not exciting enough to close out the show.
No, I'm just wondering if, like, you know, like a new Castlevania under Sony Studios would be like really cool. They show a trailer for it or something. I just can't. Yeah, I'm just trying to think a little bit, like, what else from someone else could they be using, or, you know, Capcom debuts. You know what? It's been some time. The Resident Evil 2 remake. They said they're working on it.
Why? Okay. Oh, 2. Sorry, I was thinking 3. Never mind.
Yeah,
I thought we just remade that like 4 times. So I was like,
no, it's 4. Yeah. 4's got re-released on like everything ever. Yeah. It's on your fucking toaster at this point. Maybe because they said they're working on it. They announced it through a fucking Facebook post. Yeah. They're like, we got the green light. And you're like, this should be a bigger deal. So I still don't think like the mass populace knows about it. So this might be a good time to show off the trailer, and it's like the opening of Resident Evil 2 again, and it's all the fire in the streets, and Leon and Claire getting separated and stuff. Like, that could be dope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to kind of close off our thoughts on all of this, it's kind of a funny E3 in the way that, you know, like, it sounds like it's almost more exciting because we're trying to predict all of the unpredictable, because they've kind of checkmarked through the whole list at this point. We're like, what's left?
Yeah, all the stuff we know now.
So it sounds like it's going to be really amazing, which could put our hype and our expectations too high, of going like, this is the time where they come and announce all the crazy shit.
That's the thing. And now looking back at those recaps, it's like every year got better. Yeah. It's like looking back at 2014 now, that was just like testicles compared to like what 2016 was. 2015 is really good, got Horizon and shit. Yeah. So yeah, here, fingers crossed, the E3 of Dreams just keeps on rolling 4 years in a row, but this might be the one where we're slightly let down.
Let down, yeah. Unless there's something coming in the future.
I still can't even see us being let down. Even if there's nothing new that really wows us, seeing more God of War, you know, seeing more Detroit, like, all that shit's going to be just awesome.
Getting release dates for a few things, so we're not sitting there just going, like, in the ether, you know, like... Yeah. All
right, that's the E3 rundown for now. We'll find out all this shit in a month. If you want to find me on Twitter, I'm at TheCalG. Mike is at Mike Kent Draws. You can find Pens and Pixels across all social medias. Pick your poison.
Yeah, and you can be sure to like us on SoundCloud, drop us a rating on iTunes, subscribe to us on YouTube, or give us a thumbs up there. All that stuff really helps. You know, make sure to comment and ask questions, or send us an email at meetpensandpixels@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you guys. We always like getting your feedback. I know your questions. If you have a segment you want us to cover, then let us know. Other than that, we're done.
Let's board the hype train again.